What's happening, GoCo? On this week's episode of The Gaming Outsider, Zack, CB, and myself proved to ourselves and the rest of the world that we're gamers, but without actually saying we play games. We'll also share the community's contributions as well. In news, we chat about some crazy changes coming to Overwatch 2, as well as a bunch of games coming to Nintendo Switch Online that literally no one asked for. New games discussed include Biomutant, Knockout City, the demo for Scarlet Nexus, and King of Seas, which Kevin has been raving about quite a bit. This is The Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to episode 347 of The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community. It's Monday, May 24th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my friends. First off, a guy that is not impressed with the screenshot for the new Uncharted movie, Mr. Zack Parkerson.
I did not know you had seen my tweet.
Oh, I follow your tweets a lot more than you think I do.
Okay, yeah, that first image they showed is straight up embarrassing.
You think so?
They didn't even. First of all, Mark Wahlberg has Nathan Drake's hairstyle, iconic hairstyle, not Tom Holland. Mm-hmm. And more importantly, Sully doesn't have a mustache.
Right, no mustache,
which is weird for maybe it's like a flashback or something because Mark Wahlberg did post on Instagram him with the mustache.
Right. So he's going to age throughout the film, but
it just looked goofy. Especially because, you know, they did that fan film a couple years ago on YouTube with Nathan Fillion.
Which is perfect.
Which is pretty good, yeah. But it's just... whatever, man. It looks... I'll be there opening weekend, I'm sure of it, because it's a video game movie. But it looks...
I did not mean to get you so riled up, man, but...
I love those first 3 Uncharted games, man. Love them.
I know you do. Also joining us, after a week hiatus, Mr. Chris Berensmeyer. How you doing, man?
I'm here. Whee!
Did you see the screenshot that we were alluding to?
Yeah.
The Uncharted movie?
Maybe they'll just Henry Cavill in his mustache.
That'd be good. It looks as though it was a made-for-TV version reboot of National Treasure.
That's what I thought. I thought National Treasure more than Uncharted, but I don't know. Did they? I looked specifically for the half tuck, and I feel like they didn't even get the half tuck right. That's like,
well,
you have to have the half tuck, right?
With the way Tom Holland is openly sandbagging this movie in interviews, I don't think we have a lot to look forward to. When your star can't even muster up the energy to lie about like any excitement for it, that's not a good sign.
Do you think he's played the games? He had to have played the games before playing
More
the role,
likely.
Right?
I mean, he's the perfect age to have played Uncharted whilst growing up.
Right.
I can't imagine he didn't. Yeah.
I think you're forgetting how old Uncharted 1 is.
Or maybe, I don't know. How old? I guess I don't know how old Tom Holland is, to be honest.
He's like 19, isn't he? 19 or 20?
No.
Mid-20s.
He's got to be 25 or so by now, yeah.
Okay, but when did Uncharted come out?
2007.
Okay, so he would have been a wee lad.
I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
That is 14 years ago.
So he is a perfect age to have grown up with Nathan Drake.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm just saying.
I know what you're just saying.
I'm sure this guy played friggin' Uncharted. First of all, it only takes, 20 hours to beat the whole franchise?
I don't remember those games being that short, but you must be right.
You could beat the Uncharted trilogy in less than 20 hours, or at least 20 hours. Yeah, 20 hours probably. The whole trilogy.
Man, well, I guess I was going for collectibles, so it probably took me a little bit longer, but...
yeah.
Plus, I'm dumb when it comes to puzzles, so...
Well, there's, you don't have to remind me. I played It Takes Two with you. I'm just kidding.
So, what you guys been catching up on? Anything exciting? Playing games-wise?
Only thing I've finished, other than the new game I've been playing, is I listened to Press Reset.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The Jason Schreier book. How'd you like it?
It was okay.
Wow. Different opinion.
No, it's actually pretty good. Learning a lot of the backstories was really good. Though he does really kind of center around like 3 studios.
Well, yeah, there's like a trail through the book you can follow, which I like because it was a little bit more structured than his first book. But because he like basically references Warren Spector almost the entire way through the book, which was good for me because Warren Spector is a legend.
Yeah, I think I'm good with hearing Warren Spector, Ken Levine, and Irrational Games.
Dude, does he not throw some dirt on Ken Levine throughout that book?
Yes, he does.
Yeah, there's no Ken Levine does not come out of that book looking good at all.
No, there's some pretty scummy things said in that book.
There are some scathing things said from his former coworkers for sure.
Yeah.
Scott, I know you love Ken Levine. You're going to be...
Well, I love his games. I don't know if I love the man. I don't know much about him personally, so... I love BioShock.
Yeah.
As much as you love that, though, my favorite part of that whole book was listening to like the 38 Studios thing.
Yeah, that was nuts for sure.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't realize how bad that actually was.
I didn't realize it was bad on both sides. Like, I had always just assumed it was all Kurt Schilling's fault, but it sounds like the state of Rhode Island had made just as many mistakes.
Yeah.
So it was just no one in charge of any of the operations knew what the hell they were doing.
Do they start that story from the beginning for people that aren't as familiar with it? I know just enough to be dangerous, but like going into that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they start from the beginning.
Okay, because that's what intrigues me about that. I'm actually starting even further back. I actually purchased the audiobook version of Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, so I'm actually starting that tomorrow, and then I can't imagine it's that long. I'll probably finish it in a week or two, and then I'm going to move on to the other one with my next Audible credit because Audible is awesome.
It is.
For that.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Anyway, Zach, anything else you've been catching up on this week?
So slowly doing Fantasian still. That's kind of like my feel-good game right now. I'll just play like 30 minutes before bed. It is just getting more and more Final Fantasy IX as it goes along.
Yeah.
They're even splitting up the party in a way that game did, and that game in its later parts of the story you kind of learn is like a world is overlapping on another in a somewhat dangerous way. And that's happening here as well. In fact, there's one of the leaders is Prince Garland, who is the primary antagonist of Final Fantasy IX for most of the game.
Huh.
So that's just a straight up reference. It's just
they're not even trying to hide it anymore.
No, not at all. Which I'm okay with.
Yeah,
as a Final Fantasy IX fan,
It's
giving me that feeling. The only problem is for once I actually don't. I'm dreading the clock going up because I don't want it to end because I know it ends on a cliffhanger because the second, if this were a PS1 game, this would be discs 1 and 2 and then discs 3 and 4 are coming at the end of this year. So I know I will have a cliffhanger.
But are they going to all be the same developer? Because I thought this was supposed to be like their final swan song.
Yeah, I think it's just they needed time to scan all the dioramas in, so they just kind of split it into 2 parts. But, you know, it's all okay. It's not like it's costing you anything extra or anything, but...
Right.
Yeah, that game's great.
Cool.
And then on my KOTOR playthrough, I'm done with all 4 planets. So I'm about to go confront Darth Malik.
Nice.
Right.
That game rocks. And it's I wish we had modern RPGs that were kind of like this, but we do not.
You mean in terms of story or in terms of gameplay?
I mean in terms of structure. Yeah.
Okay.
Like we don't have a lot of RPGs that aren't open world anymore.
That aren't open world?
Right, like this has like 5 or 6 discrete areas that you travel between, but they're not like interconnected, so it kind of gives you an open, almost episodic flavor to the progression. Like the first Mass Effect definitely has that as well. I
recently got to that part where you start going to just go to a planet. I have the choice of 2 planets at the beginning.
Okay, I mean, yeah, KOTOR. The structure of Mass Effect was definitely inspired by KOTOR.
Okay,
but then like Jade Empire did the same thing, which another great RPG. It's just good stuff, and I'm excited because I want to play KOTOR 2 because I've never played more than just a couple hours of it, and it's supposed to be pretty great story and some less great gameplay.
Boggles my mind that you never played KOTOR 2.
Yeah, it came out at a weird time. It was its own fault, but
sounds like it.
And it really tears down the Jedi in a way I probably wouldn't have appreciated as much at 14. But now that I'm 30, I'm ready to. The concept of good and evil holds far less weight to me because as you grow up, you learn that those things aren't as dichotomous as they've seen when you are a child.
Right.
So I would, I just want to see Kreia take down the Force. That's all. That's what I've been playing.
All right. I have some good news for you, Zach. You already know this news, but
you didn't. The audience didn't have to know that.
It's so fun telling you anyway.
All right. Well, I'm ready to hear it.
I finished my first playthrough of Nier Replicant.
Oh my, Scott, you did?
I did.
I had no idea.
I think I was texting you throughout the entire thing.
You were texting me fairly lightly. Me, and I was also talking to Christina Flores, who I know you were talking to, and then we were talking about you playing Nier.
Right.
There's a lot going on there.
And I have to tell you, I finished this and I was like, all right, great. I finally feel like I've reached a sense of accomplishment. There's definitely tones of something else more going on that I haven't been explained explicitly yet. But I still felt this sense of accomplishment. And next thing I know, both Christina and Zack are texting me saying, all right, now you just have to make it to the junk heap in the next playthrough.
Okay.
And then you'll really find out what makes this game special.
I specifically said, look, man, if you want to throw in the towel, I get it.
No, it's not that. But what's funny, and this is right before we started recording tonight, we were having this conversation about television shows and how some people will always say, you just got to get through that first season, man. And then after the first season, it's going to be awesome. And how much you hate it when people tell you that because you were sold incorrectly on a specific TV show like that back in the day. And I'm not knocking the story in the first playthrough because it's really good, but it just cracks me up that the response immediately was like, well, the really good part comes after that.
Well, that's the thing. Okay, it's like the first 4 seasons of Friends are good, but 5 to 8 is when it's really great.
Okay.
That's my comparison.
Anyway.
Or, Lost is a tremendous show, but really it's that final season that pulls it all together.
Okay.
Well, I know you don't like Lost, so never mind.
That first season is really the best part of Lost, let's be honest.
That's incorrect.
No, I'm with Zack on this one.
Yeah.
What? There's something wrong with you. I will never watch that show again.
Oh, it's so good.
Anyway.
So good. Yeah, so wait, are you playing the New Game Plus then?
I did start the New Game Plus, and I thought I didn't realize what was happening because all of a sudden I hit these like challenge rooms and I'm playing as Papa Nier.
Yes, yeah. And
so I thought this is part of the game, and I'm like, okay, well, clearly they're going to explain this any minute now. And then Zack is like, no, this is just part of the $8 DLC that was, in the original game, and you're just getting to play it, and blah, blah, blah. You don't have to do it. So I'm in this area. I finally gave up after I finished an area where I was fighting around a basketball court.
Yes.
which made no sense.
Does not really fit in with the rest of the game's aesthetic.
No, not at all. Not yet. I get the impression that anyway. So I just got out of that, and then I was going to start working my way. It basically, I don't know how much I should say, but it dropped me off on my second playthrough in a place that I was not expecting. Is that vague enough?
Yeah, it's like New Game Plus basically puts you like slightly over halfway into the game.
Okay, I didn't know if that was spoilery or not.
That doesn't feel super spoilery.
So is the second playthrough a little bit shorter then?
Yeah, well, for sure. Though, I mean, there's I can give you if you can skip any piece of cutscene that's not in one of the 4 dungeons.
Okay,
pretty much. And I think the game might stop you from skipping the new cutscenes, but I can't say that with total authority.
All right. Well, I did it, Zack. I did it. I promised myself I would finish a Nier game,
and you did
it.
Are you still intrigued by Automata?
I am. I'm wondering if I know it's been so long since I played Automata. I wonder if since I've played Replicant so much so recently that Automata will come back to me. Like the gameplay will come back to me, and I don't have to start all over. I can just pick up where I left off. Yeah,
well, I think that's good anyway, because the first playthrough of Nier Automata is actually more confusing if you've played Nier Replicant.
Okay.
Which was the intentional move by Yoko Taro, was to make a sequel that was more confusing for people that played the original. And he accomplished that. So I think you can just jump in and do your final boss.
Okay.
I really do. So you liked Nier after ending it?
You know what my favorite thing about Nier is? And here's the weird thing. I was thinking about this today. No, that's your favorite thing. But I'm still perplexed by... It's so funny watching Kaine because they discreetly... I'm going to sound like a total perv. But like the way that her body moves and the way that things... It's almost like watching the beginning of an Austin Powers movie when like he is naked in a room and they just things conveniently like get in the way of the dirty bits.
Yeah,
That's like what happens with Kaine. Like, I mean, there's nothing. She's completely covered, but anyway, no. The thing that really kind of solidified me for liking this game more than I thought I did was this morning at work. I decided to fire up the soundtrack, and the first time I tried listening to the soundtrack, it didn't do anything for me because I hadn't experienced it. But now that I've played through the game, that soundtrack just feels so much more impactful, and I feel more emotionally stirred listening to it now. And I'm picturing areas and scenes in my head while the soundtrack is going, which has weirdly made me appreciate the game and the story and even the gameplay more than I did before. So
well, I love hearing that. That soundtrack is incredible. Fun fact, the soundtrack outsold the game in Japan in its original release.
Really?
Which is, I don't know if that's ever happened. It's such a weird thing to happen.
Remind me when we're done, too, I have a weird question to ask you about I have a weird question to ask you that might be spoilery, so don't let me forget. I'm sure you won't forget.
I was going to say, it seems very unlikely that I would forget.
Yeah, probably. But anyway, that's what we've been catching up on. We'll get to the new games we've been playing in a bit, but first, let's jump into the week's news. Quite a new few trailers this week. This one is for a game that's out now, Divinity Original Sin 2 Definitive Edition, which is available on iPad. Yeah, on iPad. We got a trailer for the Addams Family Mansion Mayhem, which is going to be available on all platforms later this year. A game called Reina and Jericho, which is going to be dropping Q3 on all platforms. Another game, One Spirit, Q2 of 2022. One that looks really interesting to me, Lies of P, and that P stands for Pinocchio, but trust me, it's not what you think in that game. Coming to PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. A Switch game called Backworlds. Foreclosed is going to be coming on August 12th on all platforms. And lastly, God of Rifts on July 27th on Steam Early Access with Oculus support. CB, stop shaking your head at me. In other news, Overwatch 2 has got all kinds of new changes coming for it. There are some new games coming to Nintendo Switch Online, and Time Splitters is making a comeback. So lots of interesting things to talk about here. CB, you've been gone for quite a while. Why don't you start off? What story would you like to talk about?
I want to talk about these games on Nintendo Switch Online.
Okay, I don't get this list at all.
I was going to go with the same thing. This is the dumbest list I have seen. Like, I don't think anybody asked for any of these games. You have Super Baseball Simulator 1.000, Caveman Ninja, which is also known as Joe and Mac here in the US, Magical Drop 2, Spanky's Quest, and then for NES, Ninja Jaja Marukun.
Yaya Marukun.
Jaja.
Quick interjection. Is Spanky's Quest as dirty as it sounds?
No.
Okay.
It's real dumb.
I'm not wrong, right? It sounds pretty dirty.
No, it's real dumb.
Okay, here's the thing. I am somewhat of a collector. I'm no CB, right? But I know my Nintendo games. I knew Joe and Mac, didn't know it was called Caveman Ninja, and I knew Super Baseball Simulator. The others I have never heard of. Legitimately never heard of them.
I have Spanky's Quest. I've barely played it because it's really not that good. But as far as like the rest of these, I'm like, there are so many better things they could have put up. Super RBI Baseball. It's
got to be a licensing thing when it comes to baseball games, right?
It could be. I don't know, but there's as far as Super Nintendo, there's so many better things I would rather see on there, like Hagane. Like you have hear me out. I own a copy of it, so I think
humble brag.
Not so much humble brag, but I actually think it would be a fun game for the people that do like Ninja Gaiden style games, and bringing it to people that are probably never going to get a chance to actually play it.
Right, because it's a very expensive copy to own right now.
There's so many. I mean, when you have almost 1,000 games on Super Nintendo and you pick pretty much the four of the worst ones.
You know, I was struggling to think of any others because they really have most of the good ones. There's a lot of JRPGs I'd probably like to see on there, maybe.
Secret of Mana.
You know what? I would like to play Secret of Mana. I have
Devil
Secret of
World?
Mana on iPad.
Demon's
that is.
Crest.
Oh, Demon's Crest. Okay.
Demon's Crest would be another good one. Like, yeah, start releasing some of these JRPGs.
How about Populous? I never played
Populous, Civilization, SimCity.
Yeah, there's some good ones.
There's still a lot of bangers on Super Nintendo.
Or can we go back to, or can we bring 64?
Yeah, I'm
Switch?
still amazed that hasn't happened yet. But
Yeah, it's
at the same time, now you're looking at a lot more licensing issues because one of the first ones everybody's going to want is GoldenEye. And that's going to be a licensing issue.
Well, I think you just kind of have to. You have to let that ship sail.
Yeah, but it's Super Mario 64. Oh wait, we already got that.
Right.
Oh yeah, 3D All Stars.
So I mean, some of the like Nintendo properties have already been released.
Oh yeah, because they're definitely gonna do it. They're definitely gonna do a Zelda 3D All Stars.
More than likely, so they're waiting on that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it have made sense to do it in their 35th anniversary?
Yeah.
now?
There's a lot of things that would have made sense.
But like Hydro Thunder.
That's a good game. But wait, was the 64 version the best version of Hydro Thunder?
No.
No. Dreamcast
It
was
was-
far superior version.
What about Buck Bumble?
I have no idea what Buck Bumble is.
Bumble like on the Rare Replay?
No.
Wait, no,
That was a Rare game?
No,
Buck Bumble. I'm thinking of a different one.
Buck Bumble had a rap intro that I could never get out of my head when I was a kid.
Never played Buck
It's
Bumble.
a third person shooter. You play as a bumblebee.
It's also
And there's
one of the N64 like different color carts too, if I remember correctly.
That seems possible. I just always started it up so I could hear like buck to the buck to the buck to the buck bumble. That happens at the beginning of the game. I can see it in your guys' eyes. You guys did not play Buck
Not
Bumble.
really.
Like
Jet
imagine,
Force
like,
Gemini.
I was going to say Jet Force Gemini, Donkey Kong 64, Yoshi's Story.
Well, I mean, Donkey Kong, I'm willing to bet that's going to come around for the, 40th anniversary?
Something. Anyway, we're not very impressed with this list of games.
I am not the retro guy you guys are. I have not heard of a single one of these games.
I've played Joe and Mac and the baseball. I mean, Joe and Mac was fun back in the day, but it just looks archaic now. The platforming looks clunky as hell.
Yeah. Have they put Adventure Island on there yet?
Adventure Island, the NES ones, not the Super NES ones.
Yeah, because
I think Adventure Island.
you have those. Like, there's still a lot on there. I'm actually still waiting for when they're like, okay, let's start doing like GameCube stuff. I mean, those file sizes are
bigger.
not that much bigger. I mean, they were put on those. Remember, they were the mini discs.
Yeah, I know.
Well, they can't do GameCube because then you put Melee on there, and no one want to play your new Smash Brothers.
True, but there's still a lot of other things on there. So,
anyway, moving on. Zach, what would you like to talk about news-wise?
I got it. Lies of P, man.
Okay.
It looks sick, dude. It looks it's a Pinocchio Souls-like, and you're
and we're not making that up. It's a Souls-like game where you play as Pinocchio.
And it looks very dark, gothic aesthetic. Very conjured to mind for me Alice Madness Returns, and the like super dark take on a fairy tale. But it is just so just Bloodborne with Pinocchio. Sure, sign me up, man.
You know what it reminds me of? Remember when we thought that Epic Mickey was going to be what we thought Epic Mickey was going to be when Warren Spector said it was going to be like all versions of Walt Disney characters that were like dead and stuff like that. Remember that?
Yeah, it was like Donald. There was Goofy's decapitated robotic head or whatever.
Yeah,
fine. Yeah, that first Game Informer preview of Epic Mickey looked like an insanely amazing game.
And then it was nothing like that. But this kind of reminds me of that. Not, I mean, obviously not the same aesthetic, but taking something that is normally known as a beloved child's classic and turning it into a gothic horror. It just works for me.
Yeah, I'm way in, and then this thing they're talking about where you get to choose your level of deception to NPCs. Like the goal of the game is to lie to people, as it is Pinocchio's thing after all.
Right.
And I think that's a pretty clever thing. I doubt your nose is going to grow because I think it might look a little goofy.
Right.
But I like that you're kind of playing this, jerk of a character. It kind of sounds like.
And Geppetto plays a role in it too. From the trailer I saw,
trying to rescue him. It seemed like, right?
I can't. Maybe I saw a different trailer because the trailer I saw was very story focused instead of gameplay focused, and I just could not.
I could not tell Geppetto's role, but I thought the press release said that you're trying to save him.
Oh, okay. You may have read more than I did.
I was, yeah. Oh, Souls gets my attention every time, but this sounds like something cool and unique.
There's got to be something to the lying. Like, instead of having his nose grow, like maybe he grows like a little more ugly.
I mean, something, right? Or I don't know. Nothing inappropriate. Scott Clark chuckling to himself like a 12-year-old.
You're not supposed to tell them.
Well, I'm sorry. When you're talking about Pinocchio, a wooden puppet, and things grow. I get it. Wood grows. Anyway.
CB, why are you shaking your head at Gods of Rifts?
So for those that haven't been hearing, like, Scott's been trying to get me on board with this game. It looks like the most janky Beat Saber.
But
it's got metal.
Plays
wow.
It's got metal music.
That's not enough, man. Like, I sat here and I saw this, and like all the animations for hitting things, like, there's only 4 movements. It just looks so bland.
It's $5 on early access. So
again, my guess is going to be super bland.
But you're not hitting boxes. You're hitting skulls.
Ooh,
it's pretty rad.
I'd rather play Brutal Legend.
I'm sorry. Oh man, I wanted to like that game so much. I wanted to so bad.
Did you like it up until the RTS bits?
Yes, up until the RTS bits, I was sold on that game. Like, Lemmy was in it.
I love Brutal Legend.
Anyway, Gods of Rifts. I think it looks. I'm a sucker for metal, and we don't get enough metal.
I don't have VR the way you guys do, but I think that trailer looked pretty janky.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna argue with you.
It's a cute idea though, so I'm hoping hopefully it gets all pulled together and whatnot.
Yeah, we'll have to see. The next month it comes out. I know that none of us are super into multiplayer games, but I feel like we should talk about Overwatch 2 and its changes. I've played like the beta of Overwatch. Zach, I think you've played the beta of Overwatch, right?
Yeah, I think I might have even played the alpha, honestly.
Wait, of Overwatch 2 or?
No. Like the original
I played Overwatch for a while. I just got
did you? Okay, so
out.
you can probably speak to this better than I can because they've made a big change. The biggest change is that Overwatch 2 is going to go from 6v6 to 5v5, which doesn't sound like that big of a deal to people like me that don't play this, but apparently some people in our community are really upset about this, especially because the change is also going to be made to Overwatch. They're not just making the change in Overwatch 2, they're going to cut that off in Overwatch 1 as well, which doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I thought, isn't Overwatch 2 partially a client update?
I don't know. I don't know enough about it.
I thought Overwatch 2 multiplayer was still going to be, it was the same lobby and everything between both Overwatches, but there would be other differentiators that are siphoned off into the team
sounds
portion.
Like a Blizzard move.
I mean, I could be misremembering, of course, but I could have swore that the multiplayer lobbies were joined in some way. If I'm wrong,
then why call it Overwatch 2? Why not just?
Well, they did that with Fortnite.
But they just had different seasons, right?
Yeah, Fortnite did seasons.
One of the updates, they called it Fortnite Chapter 2.
Oh, I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
I don't follow Fortnite as much either, but I don't know. The Sai from our community is massive into Overwatch. He actually runs a team. He runs a professional team. And he said that the way he described it in our Discord was that they basically have removed a position. He called them off tanks, which, again, CB, maybe you can back me up and speak to this, but the way he explained it to me was, imagine like in baseball, they just said, all right, no more second baseman, and shortstop's just got to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean,
is what they've is what they've
He's
done.
essentially right. It's been a while because, again, I played like the first 3-4 months the game was out, and then I was like, okay, I had my fun. I'm going to move on. But as far as off tanks, I mean, I'm still remembering from like back to my WoW days. You had your main tank, which was essentially you do like a build a certain way, and you're functioning a certain way. If he goes down or something, like in specific situations, you need that second person to take the brunt of something. And if you're removing it now, granted, you're going to have faster games in some situations, but there's the one mode where you're like leading a tank or like something across the map. You remove that second tank, it's going to probably slow that down some. Because now you're not going to have that person like, oh, my primary went down. I have this secondary person to kind of take up the slack. Now it's just like, okay, now I'm just stuck with DPS and healers, and we can't really push forward.
Right.
And for professional teams, I actually can understand like this because you have 6 guys or like six people that are used to playing together. Now it's like, hey, man, we don't have a spot for you anymore.
Right.
Like that can be devastating, especially if you've been playing with a group for so long in a specific way that now you remove that person from the mix and you completely have to like come up with new strategies, new ways to play. Especially when you have a game that's been out this long and all of a sudden now you're making the change, and even to the older game.
Yeah, because it's treated less like a game and almost more like a sport. So yeah, you're right. Like it's just pretty catastrophic, this move.
Yeah, it's a major change. It'd be like if the NBA all of a sudden is like, hey, people are scoring too many points. We're going to raise the hoop by 10 feet.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
I kind of want to see that.
It'd be interesting.
that sounds super fun. Maybe that's what they're looking at, is, looking at for the spectators more than the players, which, who knows. But anyway, thanks for the help there. I want to mention very quickly, too, more out of curiosity than anything, because I have not played this series, but Time Splitters is making a comeback. This is published by Deep Silver, who purchased the rights to this game back in 2018 and didn't realize they were doing anything with it until now. It's going to be a new team that's going to act as a subsidiary of Deep Silver, including a number of the key original members of Free Radical Design, who are the original developers of the game. Development's not started yet, and it won't start for a couple months, but I want to talk to you guys, because I'm assuming you guys, at least one of you, have played it. I have not. Is this something worth getting excited about? Is Time Splitters a good series?
I will say, after listening to Press Reset, I don't have hope.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if it happens. For me, I'd never cared about Time Splitters, so I'm not really that guy. I think I barely remember Future Perfect coming out. I want to say it was the one that I kind of played, but the only thing I ever did in that game was build multiplayer maps. I never even touched the campaign. Where a friend would come over and we would build maps. That's all I remember. And
that doesn't sound like you at all.
Building maps?
Doesn't sound like something you would really want to do.
Oh,
I could say I could see Zack building maps more than playing.
Yeah, we would build maps for hours, because then I would place the enemy, like I would make little stories for my friend to play through, basically.
Which very much sounds like Zack.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. Sounds like me to me. I guess it was almost DMing, and and we did it like with Far Cry and stuff too. I don't know. It was hella good times. Anyway, so I don't really have a lot of attachment to Time Splitters. I'm happy to see it come back, but this kind of pre-announcement, it doesn't really get me super. I don't feel like I have a lot of faith in it actually happening.
It sounds like CB doesn't either.
No, again, when you just listen to a book of, I don't know, a couple hundred pages of hearing this exact same story with other things.
You guys are really selling me on this book. I don't know if I want to be depressed now.
I wrote in the review, it is not an uplifting book. No, it's not.
At all. But there is some really heartwarming moments to it. So
it's true. It's not just Game of Thrones. I do often say I want to see publishers just tell us what their next game is, like, ahead of time, because I do think the secrecy is almost childish in this industry. But coming from Deep Silver, who I'm sorry, I just don't, see a lot of bangers out of, and like the studio's not even together. It just feels a bit premature.
Which does happen a lot.
I mean, if it comes to fruition, I'm excited to see older franchises kind of get rebooted.
What is Time Spoilers?
I don't really remember it, so this might be no. But
it is a
no. My big thing is though to see things like this that it's harder to go back to now to play it because it is on older consoles. So now the fact that it could be a reboot or something new coming to newer consoles, like, hey, I might finally get around to this.
Okay.
Because I know the original franchise was quite goofy with its time travel mechanics, and I'm pretty sure a talking chimpanzee was a major character. It's like it's supposed to be like a comedy first-person shooter time traveling adventure. If they keep that tone, then I'm pretty excited because we don't have a lot of
wacky
comedies, especially shooter comedies.
The last one I can think of is
Eat Lead.
No, I was thinking the 360 one with the foul-mouthed protagonist from Chair. Was it Chair?
Bulletstorm?
No, Bulletstorm. Yeah, not Chair. It was People Can Fly.
Yeah, Bulletstorm was great.
Yeah.
Bulletstorm was so much fun.
Did you guys play that Duke?
Oh,
Nukem
I played
version
through it twice. Oh yeah, it is worth every penny.
All right. I kind of forgot they did that, but now I'm intrigued.
I did not play. I played through the remaster, but I did not play the Duke Nukem version. I think you had to buy it again or pay the DLC.
If you already owned it, it was like $10. But buying it
to play as Duke Nukem throughout the whole campaign,
and he uses like Olive Gray's lines too.
Even the infamous.
He uses it too.
I mean, not that I'm surprised.
Do they make any reference? Like, does he at any point go like, "What the hell am I doing here?"
Well, because they didn't dub over everyone else, so everybody keeps calling the character Gray, and he's like, "I'm Duke, not Gray."
All right, that's pretty good.
That's pretty funny.
Good. Yeah,
that makes it worth it. Anyway, moving on. Would like to remind everybody, this is the Gaming Outsider, and we are an independently funded podcast, which means we do have to pay for everything here on our own, which is why we ask you, our great listeners, for some help with a Patreon that we've got set up. And what we've been doing is we've been putting some bonus episodes out there for people at the $3 tier or at the $5 tier. $3 will get you one bonus episode, and $5 will get you at least 2 bonus episodes each month. And CB, what is currently available for people to listen to?
Well, we have our episode on the effects of COVID in the gaming industry, both some of the stuff that's happened and from a collector standpoint. Our Resident Evil spoiler cast on Big Mama. And then...
May she step on us.
Yes, may she ever. And then also we're going to be doing an upcoming episode, Friends Trivia Game. Which,
yes, we know it's not video game related, but Zach and I both love the show,
and I despise it.
And you've never watched it. You can't say you despise it if you've never watched it.
There's nothing about that show that ever makes me want to watch it.
Every person I've ever heard say they hate Friends has not watched Friends. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that's hard science.
I've watched clips. Like
well, that's not
my wife loves it. She'll be watching it. I come in, I watch like 5 minutes. I'm like, this is not funny to me.
I misplaced your soul. I apologize.
Anyway, my point was, we understand that Friends doesn't have anything to do with video games, but Zach and I both have a huge love for the show, and the reunion show is coming up this next week. So we thought it was kind of a fun tie-in for that, which I am genuinely looking forward to watch. But
could you be any more excited for it?
I don't know. I don't think I could. Anyway, if you would like to listen to any of those episodes or all of our back catalog, head over to patreon.com/thegocast, and we would love to have your support and love over there. Let's go ahead now and jump into the games that we've actually been playing. All right, Zach, quite a list here. Not as many remakes or remasters as last week, but what do we got?
Although it is not without its ports and remakes, of course. Right at the top, we have Biomutant, a open world post-apocalyptic RPG we'll talk about very shortly, coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC May 25th. That game was announced 4 years ago.
Insane.
That is.
I feel like it's not marketed very well either.
No, wait, it's no, it's not being, I don't know if it's being marketed at all.
Yeah.
In fact, there's more marketing for Final Fantasy XIV coming to PS5 May 25th. And then we have a pirate RPG, right? Pirate action RPG, King of Seas, coming to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC May 25th. You will also be hearing about that game shortly.
Mm-hmm.
Capcom Arcade Stadium, it gets ported off of Switch and onto PS4, Xbox One, and PC May 25th.
Do we still get 1942 for free?
You do.
All right, cool. Or is it for 1943?
That is your, I don't know.
1941 and 1942.
Actually, I think it's...
I thought it was 43.
Wait, no, it is 43.
When did Pearl Harbor
1941 is the movie that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, there's not a 1941 video game.
I don't know. But I do know that FMV game Erica is coming off of PlayStation and onto PC May 25th. Sleeper hit of last year, Maneater, is coming to Switch finally on May 25th.
And it dropped on Game Pass today.
Is that right?
Yes.
Look at that. That's exciting. But it was on Xbox a while, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Crazy?
just not on Game Pass.
Gotcha. Yeah, that is a almost an ideal Game Pass game.
That's a good point.
Then Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne HD Remaster going to PS4, Switch, and PC May 25th. That is a HD remaster of the PS2 game. That is like just a really grim, kind of mean setting. And humorously, Dante from Devil May Cry makes a cameo appearance. I think you might be able to join your party if you beat him as a boss, and that's absurd because they're not the same company. Earth Defense Force World Brothers, which looks like a voxel Earth Defense Force, is going to PS4, Switch, and PC May 27th. The Idolmaster, the next entry in the hit Japanese pop singer game franchise. Comes to Idolmaster Charlotte Season coming to PS4 and PC May 27th. Then The Longest Road on Earth comes to PC May 27th. Remake of Wonder Boy 4, Wonder Boy Asha and Monster World comes to PS4, Switch, and PC May 28th. And World's End Club comes to Switch May 29th, which is the next game from the Zero Escape and Danganronpa guys.
What
else? What's calling out to you? Side note, Wonder Boy Asha and Monster World's trailer makes the bold declaration at the beginning that it is a masterpiece reborn.
Yeah, I noticed that as well, and I was like, I've never played this game. Do I need to play this game now? But it was kind of effective to me. So,
well, it made me like double check. I'm like, well, it is the fourth game, so I mean, most people.
The Wonder Boy games were actually pretty good.
I'm sure they were. I think it looks very cute and very good.
You love those platformers, man. You prefer 3D platformers, I think.
I do prefer 3D. I wish they made more 3D Gear Gated games.
I feel like Earth Defense Force, I love that first game so much, and I keep chasing that purple dragon to like recapture that magic from the first game, and I've just always been disappointed. And turning it to voxels is not going to be the thing to win me over, I don't think.
Does it do anything for you?
I mean, I would play it. I just don't want to pay the money for it.
I would play it on Game Pass.
Yeah. See, there you go. I played on Game Pass.
Game Pass has ruined us.
Pretty much. I don't know. You're going to hear Kevin talk about King of Seas here in a couple minutes. He may have sold me on that game.
It's kind of up there for me between that, and I'm waiting to hear Zack talk about Biomutant, but Capcom Arcade Stadium, I'm in.
Yeah.
Of course you are.
That's your kind of thing. Absolutely. I'm pretty excited about Shin Megami Tensei 3, especially on Switch, because I never got a chance to play the PS2 game, and it is, as most low-selling JRPGs on PS2s, laughably expensive on the secondary market. But it's also it's $50 for this HD remaster, which seems like a lot for one game.
Yeah.
When only 2 weeks ago, Mass Effect came out with 3 games and all of its DLC for $60,
and kind of a couple weeks before that, Nier Replicant came out with 1 game for $60.
but a bunch of added content and read all of the dialogue redone from the ground up.
I couldn't help it, man.
All the score rearranged. You want to fight me, man?
And I'm interested in Biomutant as well. I'm genuinely intrigued to hear you talk about that because I just can't decide what that game is, but we'll get there. You know what? Let's go ahead and jump into it, man. Will you tell us about Biomutant? Because what is it? Because I feel like nobody even has heard of this game, and all of a sudden it's being released, even though it was announced 4 years ago. What is Biomutant?
Yeah, for THQ Nordic, if you're listening to this, what are you doing with the marketing, guys?
Yeah.
I just don't feel like people know this game is coming out, and it sells itself on visuals. Like, it just looks cool.
It does.
Which is great, because that's the best thing going for it. It looks really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's Biomutant is a post-apocalypse, you could say, because it's not even like the world destroyed and there are remnants. Like, we're past that.
Mm-hmm.
And all the animals have been mutated, and you play a little rodent guy who you get to customize the absolute hell out of. You can like choose your fur patterns and fur colors and your body build and all kinds of stuff. It's an impressive character creator.
All right.
And there are a few different classes, and then when you get into the game, it's like an open world RPG, mix of melee and ranged combat. You know, nothing wild so far. But the game is very into its morality system, which I feel like I don't know if I've seen a morality system that's in your face in a long time.
So is it pretty like what we're used to in terms of get a good side, a bad side, and
yeah, except it tallies both numbers simultaneously, so it's not like a swinging pendulum. It is, you get dark points and light points for actions you make, and you get little conscious. Your conscience talks to you. There's a dark and a light conscience,
like the little angels on your shoulder.
Yeah, they'll dress you down for decisions that you make and kind of bicker with each other. And it's funny because if you make a dark side decision, he'll usually chop the light side conscience in half at the end of the conversation. That's pretty funny. It's kind of cute.
So it sounds like there's a lot of humor in this game.
Yes and no, I guess. Not especially, honestly. Like, that's probably, the conscience is probably the funniest part. So the context of the game is you're playing a little rodent guy, but he doesn't talk at all, and neither does anybody else. There is one narrator who narrates everything that's happening in the game.
Okay.
Which is super cute and cool at first, but this game is shockingly story heavy, which is surprising because the story it's telling is not very intriguing at all. It's very pink by the numbers, like your village was destroyed when you were a child, and now you must seek vengeance on the person who wronged it. Well, I guess that's kind of like a side goal, but it's just so rote. So the amount of time that is being spent on it is questionable at best. But the thing with the narrator is he also speaks for all of the characters. So the characters speak in like a gibberish rodent language, I guess you would say.
Okay.
And so they'll do like a squeak, but they squeak for a while, and then you have to pause while, like, you know, Siri or Google translates for you, and then the narrator speaks the character's lines to your character.
So can you skip the squeaks and go right to the dialogue? So
if you skip the squeak, it'll show the subtitles for the next dialogue, but it won't actually skip to the narrator saying
that's
the dialogue.
irritating.
It's very irritating. So you still have to wait. So if you skip to the next line, you still have to wait for the gibberish sound effect to play out before the voice line will load in, basically.
Wow.
It's really annoying.
It sounds like this is an odd choice.
So for the first, like, 30 minutes or so, I'm like, oh, that's kind of a cute thing, because, like, you know, the narrator's narrating everything. I get the rodents, they're not speaking English. That's kind of fun, but because there's so much story, at least in the first 5 hours or so, there's a lot of story. It is just like, well, that's a weird choice if you're going to be so narrative heavy. But B, it also means that, like, I don't care about any of the characters because I don't really know what their personality is like, because I'm not hearing them deliver lines. I'm not hearing them speak in their cadence. I'm just hearing a narrator relay what they're saying to me in his own words.
Right.
So, like, I'm not attached to any character 5 hours into your story heavy game. That's
so
not a good
it's almost
sign.
like an adult reading a book to a kid.
Yeah, which, but he doesn't even do like a fun voice.
Oh,
or anything. He's just the same British guy the whole time, which, God bless him, he's doing his best, don't get me wrong. But it's just it's just a weird choice. I could see how, like, I don't want a backseat game design. It's just, I can see how it would seem like a cute idea in paper, but in practice it is seriously grating. Because they're like, the story is such a focus that they're like flashbacks to your childhood that you play through and stuff, and it's just weird.
I got a question though. That brings up though. We're talking about the flashbacks because you talked about the intense character creation. So when you go see these flashbacks, are you seeing like a younger version of this character that you created?
It's actually even more impressive because your parents reflect your color and fur patterns too.
Huh. That's pretty cool.
Really well done, actually. I mean, everything about the character creation is very well done. It's just me and story, and it's just, it's a choice. I'm happy that a developer stuck to their guns on something, but it just didn't. It's not working for me.
Okay.
All right.
I just want, like, all the character designs look cool. Like, everything looks so cool in this game. The monsters, the enemies, everything. Like, I just kind of want to try to get lost, but it's just all this, all this gibberish stuff happening. It makes it really hard.
How's the combat?
It's a little loose. It's kind of got okay. Well, let me try to get in a little bit more positive mindset here, just for a little bit. The combat is fast and fun, but it kind of like, it unravels pretty slowly. Like, it starts off pretty basic and almost overly so, and it really doesn't. It takes almost until like 4 hours for you to really kind of unlock everything you can do there. Because there are combos and stuff, but they're all locked in the beginning of the game. You have to level up to get them. So it's like the combat is almost intentionally not fun for a few hours, which is not great.
Right.
But it is starting to open up a little bit. They do this weird thing where the game automatically locks on for you, and it's a pretty soft lock on based on where you're looking. And it's just kind of annoying because if you're going to automatically lock on, just let me lock on.
Just let me have control of it.
Yeah, let me decide when I want to do it.
Right.
And the way the camera doesn't really pull in a tight enough way where I'm totally sure who I'm aiming at. But it doesn't super matter because, they're not like dangerous threats. It just reminds me, like, I remember there was a lock-on conversation when Ghost of Tsushima came out.
Mm-hmm.
But like, because that game did not have one, but it felt appropriate there. This one feels like it wants to have a lock-on, but just doesn't. And it's just really jarring. But yeah, the combat is overall, I would say fun, but not like great. It's not like a standout. But it does. You can shoot dodge, and that's pretty cool.
Shoot dodge.
Like Max Payne.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And you can even like, you can keep it going, right? So you dive through the air, you shoot off the guns. If you're not done shooting, you press like the jump button again while you're rolling and landing, and you'll do like a cool kung fu flip off into the air and keep shooting more. It's pretty rad, man.
That does sound pretty cool. Now, are the weapons made out of like? Are they crafted out of things in the environment?
Yet another thing where it just takes too long. Okay, so the game like just berates you with tutorials nonstop for the first 2 hours. So it's insane to me that it really takes a while to get to all of this other stuff. Because it's just, I feel like I'm constantly clicking off pop-up windows. But anyway, yes, the crafting is like weird pieces of the world. Like they're appropriate for a rodent, which is pretty cool.
I like it.
All of the aesthetic decisions are excellent. Like, it just looks great. It's bright. It's beautiful. The crux of the main game is you're going to these 4 different locations to fight 4 different bosses, so you can get to the final area. Very, very Breath of the Wild. But when you get like all the environments look great, and it's just like a cool world to explore because you'll go to like some it's like fun exploring buildings, right? Because you're not much bigger than a traditional rodent, so like your head is where the toilets are,
right?
Like it's just kind of a cool look. Or like one of the lootable items is couch cushions because that's like at your height. So you just stick your hand in there. It's just like a fun, cute little thing, and like all that's great. And then when you go to the 4 different locations, they have different vehicles basically. Like the first one that I just did because I beat the first boss of the 4 was a mech suit, and you just get to like pilot a mech suit around as a rodent in this post-apocalyptic world, and the mech is also insanely customizable. Like you could put a little rubber ducky head on top of it.
That all sounds super rad.
Yeah, all of that stuff is so cool. Yeah, and the crafting is insanely dense. And it's just like, yeah, all that stuff is super cool. Like you can like, so just like a standard shirt or a jacket, there are 3 different customized slots to like add cosmetics on your outfits. So you can really just customize the hell out of everything in the game, and that's super cool. You can customize your weapons appearance and everything. So if you're really into customizing stuff, this has got a lot going on for you.
All right.
But then, I mean, it's got a skill tree, etc. Of course, and that's fine. But
I genuinely can't tell how you feel about this game. Like,
yeah, I mean, honestly, right now I'm kind of mixed because I feel like the game just kind of gets in its own way a lot.
mm-hmm.
You know, whether it be the narration of all of the story, or whether it be the incessant tutorial pop-ups. But when you're actually like in the flow of exploring, and I will say the game has not let me do this a great deal, because even though it is an open map, it's kind of there are like a surprising amount of invisible walls and stuff. But when you get into the actual flow of what's going on, it is really fun, and it's just like it's a super cool world to be in. It's just, I almost kind of wish you go one way or the other with the story. You either kind of like put it in the background and let the player, explore this cool setting on their own, or you actually give these characters some voices so I actually care about what's going on with them. Because like what I said with the flashbacks and stuff, right? You meet people, and I feel like this is only a light spoiler, but shocker, you might run into a few of them in the present day, and like the game is obviously framing the cutscene and the music's playing, or it's like supposed to be this grand reunion. I'm like, I don't care about Gizmo because I don't really know anything about him.
Right.
I just know that the narrator's like, he hands you a tool for digging. Great. What do I care about Gizmo? Like, so just pick a lane. Like I I just feel like I'm really ragging on these guys. I just think it was just a decision that I definitely don't think worked, and it's just kind of, not often do I wish you just wouldn't have had a story at all. Like, that's not something I often say.
No, it's really not.
But I kind of, like, the setting is just so cool, and the idea of the animals and everything, and that mech you can just summon wherever you want in the open world at a certain point. Like, it's cool game, man. And I mean,
the screenshot alone for like the marketing for this game, or the cover, the box art or whatever, just looks cool. It's like this mouse with a eye patch and this giant sword over his shoulder.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
that alone has sold me on this game.
His Buster Sword.
Yeah.
That could be one of your starting weapons if you want. Which is pretty cool. I went with like a dual wielder, nimble kind of guy, of course. It's good. The only thing you can't customize is the eye patch is essential to the story. You have to have the eye patch.
All right.
Just fun. But like, I got this like cool red guy with like a black streak of fur across his eye. It's just, it is cool customizing your dude. It's just, it's hard to like fully recommend it all the way, because it's just, it's weird because like I've played it like 5 hours, not an insubstantial amount of time, but I'm still like, I don't know if I have my mind made up one way or the other.
Well, I assume you'll play it more this week. We'll hear more about it next week as well. Yeah,
you'll definitely hear more next week, and hopefully, hopefully, like now that I've gotten a boss out of the way, maybe the game will just kind of let me play it for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be nice, because when that lets me do that, I'm having a hell of a time.
All right. That is Biomutant. Looking forward to hearing more about that next week for sure.
All right, guys, I got a question.
All right.
Can dodgeball be fun on consoles?
I assume you're talking about Knockout City, which Zack and I actually played together.
We did. You could say that we dodged, ducked, dipped, dived, and dodged together.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you think every review on the internet will use those words in some way together?
It has to.
More than likely.
Yes.
Yeah, it has to. Knockout City, we both played on the Xbox Series X. We went through the tutorials.
I played on Xbox One standard base unit.
Oh, yep. My apologies.
I was rocking a 2013 style, baby.
And this is to preface our review of this game, which we played a few rounds. Neither Zack nor I are huge multiplayer guys, unless it has Titanfall in the title,
right? Or a chainsaw on a machine gun.
Exactly. Those are pretty much the extent of us playing multiplayer. But I gotta say, Knockout City is a lot of fun. Like if I were into multiplayer games, this would be a solid title. I would be playing this one.
The reaction I got when we stopped playing. This is not what I expected you to say.
Well, no. I mean, like, I had fun doing it. I can appreciate what the game is. I'm just not going to play it again because I'm not into it. I don't have the patience to get good at these games. I will say, and I know where you're getting at with this. I was excited when we first fired up the game because the game felt very simple, and I mean that in a good way. It was pick up the ball, throw it, or catch a ball if one is thrown at you. And at the beginning, that's all the controls are at the beginning, which makes me sound like an old man. Like I just want like real simplistic controls. And then things start getting a little more complicated, right, Zach?
Yeah, well, then they introduce like passing and fake throwing, and that also makes sense. And you're like, okay, this is like a respectable little game about dodgeball. I want to check it out. And then they throw in like sniper balls and cage balls and exploding bomb balls. You have to throw fast enough for those to explode in your own hand. You can tackle into opponents. You can tackle into balls. You can
roll up into a ball and be thrown by your teammates or opponents.
Forgot you could Sonic the Hedgehog into a ball if you want. There is just a lot going on actually, and I feel like I'm missing something else. But it's just and you can like charge your shots up and stuff.
Well, plus you can like charge it and throw it, pass it to your teammate, which charges it up faster.
Or if your teammate has a ball and you then pass to them, you will get your ball returned fully charged and ready to fire off immediately. So there's a lot going on more than you would think, and I honestly feel like the game would work better with all of that.
Right. Like I just wanted it just straight up dodgeball with the fake throwing and maybe a charge up shot. I'd be okay with.
Oh, right, and you can lob shot and spin shot as well.
Right. You can curve the bullet like what's that movie Wanted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a curve shot where you can go around items and stuff.
Well, I mean, I was kind of wondering about this because at the same time I was sitting here thinking, I'm like, man, just if it's just plain dodgeball, I'm willing to bet it could get old very quick.
Oh, funny you should say that.
Yeah, there's a lot more going on than just dodgeball.
Okay.
What I will say, my favorite thing about it is that it's 3v3.
Mm-hmm.
I actually really like that. It's 3v3 first to 10 tags with the dodgeball, but and it's a pretty small map, so I actually really like the pace of the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's like these small teams hitting quick, almost like hit and runs all the time. It's got a good flow to it.
And it's intense. Sure. Like when you get into it, it gets very frenetic whenever like everyone just kind of finds each other. Because if you're just one-on-one with somebody, you can kind of manage it. Like, okay, I'm going to dodge this. I'm going to, try to catch this ball because it's a timing thing, right? And I'm going to jump ahead and try to nail him without getting nailed myself. But when there's like 5 or 6 of you all in one spot, it's just like it's hard to keep track of.
And quick interjection, you can take 2 hits before you get tagged out. So you can kind of use that to your advantage. You're like, yeah, I'm going to run into this fray. Yeah, I'm going to get hit, but I'm going to like knock this guy out, and then there's a ball over here, so I can get like 2 of them and only take 1 hit myself. Like there is a fair bit of strategy going into it, but whenever I got hit by a cage ball, I was just annoyed. Like, it's not.
What does the cage ball do?
Cage ball forces you to turn into the Sonic move that he was talking about, and you can't get out of it for a certain amount of time. So if you cage somebody else, then you can pick them up and throw them. Because the ball, you have to find a ball on the map, right? Just like dodgeball. You don't just have one in your arsenal. You have to go find one. But if you find a cage ball, it will turn your enemy into a ball, basically. I don't know. I feel like it would have been a lot more fun for me if we were playing with 4 other people that we knew. It was Zach and I on a team playing with one random person on our team against 3 other random people, which, it's just never fun to me. I don't know. I would just rather play with people and have some fun smack talk or something. I feel like I want to do this for a community game night, give it one more shot.
Yeah, it'd be a great community game night game, but I guess it is on Game Pass, but the problem is if you're not on Xbox, it's a $20 game.
Right.
Which is not expensive for a game, of course, but it is in its genre of. Well, the game just looks like Fortnite. They're not making any bones about it with the art style.
You even have like a glider.
It seems like it's there straight up just to make kids think of Fortnite.
I feel like you should have mentioned Fortnite because now he's totally not going to want to play this game.
No, I have dabbled in Fortnite. I will probably dabble in this as well.
Oh, you want to hear the weird thing? There's a double jump in this game, but the double jump, you jump with A, your first jump, and your second jump, you jump with B.
Or Y.
Or Y?
Yeah, you can double jump with Y as well.
Oh, yeah, you can double jump with Y. And at first we were like, why in the world is that? There is a reason behind it that is it's something about one of the different power shots you can do.
Right, so if you double jump with B, you do a spin shot, and if you double jump with Y, you do a lob shot.
Right. So it's all part of the different shots that you can do based on which double jump you choose to use. Which is just too I don't know. I feel old saying this. It's just too complicated for what I want. Like I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
talking about it, I'm actually kind of like, maybe it's better than I thought it was.
That was how I felt about it when I was going into this, and you're like, that was a different reaction. But yeah, the more I thought about it, the more I kind of liked it.
But you're right. We're not the target demo because like after the first match, Scott and I were both like, yeah, we're done, right? But then like just out of obligation, we're like, we gotta at least do one more, right? Like we can't we cannot spend more time on the tutorial than the game itself. That we can't.
That tutorial took a long time too,
and is actually really necessary.
Oh, it's totally necessary. Yeah, you need to do the tutorial.
I'll admit, I'm interested. I kind of want to check it out.
Oh, it's worth checking out. I mean, obviously, if you're on Game Pass, for sure.
Like, I would love for the three of us even to get together and just take on other teams.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, I'm down.
I mean, especially because there's like that teamwork aspect, where it helps to be around each other to have that powered up shot ability to be able to be charged up quicker. I just don't know. There's that push and pull of, do we want to stay together or do we want to make ourselves easy targets? You know what I mean?
What are you talking about? When we play this game, you're just going to use me as the human shield while you sit back and snipe.
It's not about you being the human shield. It's about you barreling forward in every game that we do. You just run right in the middle of it and figure it out later. That's how you do our D&D character too.
Yeah, and it works.
It does. It almost got us killed a couple weeks ago, but
don't lie to me.
Knockout City. Yeah, it's a game that, like Zach said, we played a couple rounds and we're like, we're done, right? But the more I think about it, I like it.
It's fun. It is hard to if you're not on Xbox, it's a hard sell at $20. Just not that it's not worth $20, but there is a bit of a race to the bottom for these kinds of games.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like there are other games you can play for $0. So it's a little bit of a hard sell. But I think it is fun. It's just, whenever I'm playing a multiplayer game, I cannot help but think I'm wasting time not playing a single player game.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm also doubly curious because apparently you guys have also played another game.
Well, we played a demo.
Not touched. Yeah, well, okay, yeah, demo, but it's gonna be a game. Scarlet Nexus. This kind of looks interesting because it's Bandai Namco, and I like Bandai Namco.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'm gonna let you kick things off because I think you have some thoughts about this game.
Whoa, a lot of pressure. Well, I will say I've been
that was a deer in the headlights moment, by the way.
Yeah, that was. I've actually been pretty jazzed about this game since they announced it. I think it was announced at the Xbox Series X event, right?
I think so. Yes.
And because the creature designs are all like flower demons. It's a really cool aesthetic. But I think this game's pretty rad, man. I don't know what Scott's referring to that I have some thoughts. I just think it's pretty excellent.
No. Just the conversation we had over text about it was you seemed very, very high on it. Because I was playing it before you did, and I remember you texting me asking me about it, and did I describe it correctly? I couldn't tell. I don't know.
Well, your description was like, yeah, I think it's like pretty good, but it's really busy, but I think you're gonna love it.
Yeah. It's very busy. It's. I mean, it looks like a 3D or a third person, melee game. There is a lot of moving parts in it because you were in a squad of 5 people, and
I think that there's 4 combatants, and you have like another person who's your oracle, your voice in your equivalent.
Okay,
I think.
But at any one point, you can summon, or you can absorb the powers of one of your teammates, which gives it the rock paper scissors effect. Where I'm fighting plants that are covered in oil, so I need the flame ability from one of my people. So I got to hold the RB button and then press the B button to now harness this power from there, and now all my attacks are very strong against these enemies that are covered in oil. Am I describing that correctly?
Yeah, but also in terms of the screen being super busy, every time you do that, there's a flash of the character who like gives you a quick quip about themselves every time.
Right. We're talking like a half a second quip.
Right.
It's very quick.
It is, but it just adds to like there's something going on in every corner of the screen at every moment.
Right. It's a very combo heavy game where you want to try to keep your streak going as long as possible. So you learn in the tutorial that you have to. There's a couple ways to attack, because you have like this telekinesis ability where you can grab something and fling it at the character, and then or at the enemy, and if you do that, then you follow it immediately with an attack, and then if you do an attack, you can follow it up immediately with it's all about keeping this thing going to try to get the attack up at the same time. Which
right, but your telekinesis can drain sometimes too fast, so you might want to switch to a heavy attack.
Right.
But so it is kind of like a little bit of a strategy to it.
But I will say that they do some moments where, and again, there's just so many different ways to attack. It feels kind of refreshing in that there's just an almost limitless way of taking down enemies. But at some point, the trigger. I don't really know what it was. It was like you affect the environment or something, but then it gives you a QTE. Like you may push the sticks together, or you may repeatedly press a button. Go ahead.
You're just expending more energy to pick up something bigger, but it's only in certain combat arenas. But yeah, like you said, it transitions to a QTE when you pick it up, and if you do the QTE correctly, like sometimes you could just start really just hammer these dudes down.
Right.
I just want to say real quick, I find this funny because you were just talking about a game that seemed overly complex, and now this game seems like unbelievably complex, but you're happy about it.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
Yeah. I mean,
and that's one of the things I was telling Zach is like I think that he's going to like this more than me because it almost feels too much for me. I'm so used to hack and slashes where I just hack and slash and I dodge. I feel like my dodge didn't work the way I wanted it to for some reason. Like I wanted to roll out of the way the wrong way or something like that. But here's the really satisfying part of this is when you get an enemy down enough, there's some kind of QTE that lets you do like a finishing move. And the way the art style works, where like your character's face flashes for a second across your screen, and like he does this super awesome move, and the way the camera angle kind of does this perspective view from down below, that just is awesome. Like just taking down a normal enemy you do with a finishing move, and it feels like it's often very different. It just feels really cool.
It does. It feels satisfying every time.
Mm-hmm.
I guess for me, the reason that I was like getting so excited, besides the fact that how much of that Japanese nonsense that I seem to like, and cute anime girls, of course, is I always wanted to get to the next combat because there's so many options of what you can do. That like by the time I finish a fight, I'm like, oh, but I didn't get a chance to like do my pyrokinesis, man. Then you get to the next fight, and you're like, I'm going to use my pyrokinesis. And then you're like, oh, but it would have been cool if I had done this. So you get to the next fight, and like I'm just always thinking about the next fight.
Right.
Okay.
There's another power you have that allows you to go mist your way through gates. There's another power you have where the enemies are pseudo invisible. They got like this camouflage, so you have to grab that ability to be able to see them. So then it gets really nutty when you have some of the same enemies in the same arena. Like I got the guys that I need to use the pyro on over here, but I can't see the green guys, so I got to bring. You know what I mean? It's just there's just so much going on, and it's that you got to get in your head into a rhythm of how to keep that chain going by switching back and forth and attacking. It's a lot.
Okay,
it is. Before we move on, I just want to say I did one thing Scott did not do, which is the game has 2 playable characters.
Mm-hmm.
So after I beat it as Yukio, I played as Kasane, the female protagonist, and it is I feel like the game presents it as though it's going to be the same story with different people in the lead, but it's like a whole different squad of supporting cast members. The powers are entirely different, and the level in the demo is different. So I don't know if you do go back to the same environments or not, but it seems like it's 2 fairly different campaigns,
which is interesting, really interesting.
Yeah, so okay. They must interject at some point, right? Like, because otherwise, why didn't you just make 2 different games? But it definitely doesn't treat me, and yeah, I'm riding high in this game, man. It's definitely a day 1 purchase for me.
Yeah.
It's definitely one that I like kind of want to check out because again, I do love Bandai Namco.
Well, go check out the demo. I mean, it's free on Xbox. I don't know if it's free on PlayStation,
I think it is only on Xbox.
which is interesting. But
Well,
yeah,
they need something.
that's true. That's true. But
All right.
CB, I want to hear about Subnautica Zero or Subnautica Sub-Zero, excuse me. As a guy that totally skipped out of Subnautica, you may have to give me a rundown of what that is and how Sub-Zero differs from that game. Is it a completely new game or is it just DLC or what's going on?
Well, he's a
I believe
ninja
it's-
of the Lin Kuei. No.
Well, I believe it's it's Subnautica Below Zero.
Oh, okay. That was my bad.
No, so I played the original Subnautica, loved it. It's essentially a survival game underwater. The first game didn't really have, like, it was a very loose story. I mean, your character never really talked. You were essentially going around underwater, finding things, and trying to get off this planet. This one actually has a full-on narrative.
All right.
You were a female protagonist who is dropping onto the same planet from the first game and trying to find your sister. Because the company that you discover in the first game, apparently she worked for them and you're trying to find her. It plays very much like the first Subnautica. It's a survival game. You gotta go around, discover things, build up a base, build different vehicles and ways to survive and explore this map. I love these kind of games, like between this, Stranded Deep, 7 Days to Die was another one. But I love this style of game where you start with essentially nothing and you have to work up and build and build and build. I've put close to 20 hours into this game already.
Shocked.
Yeah. I love this style of game. The environment is beautiful because it's almost all underwater, but this time you spend quite a fair amount of time out of water, but it's all cold, so you have to go around and find ways to keep yourself warm as you're traversing around.
The whole Arctic dressing of the game really does do something for me. Like it intrigues me way more than the first game.
Yeah, I'm really loving this because as you progress through this game, there's actually an NPC that you run into in this game. Like there was no NPCs in the first one.
That helps with the story focus, right?
Yeah, and somebody was asking me the other day, they're like, "Oh, isn't that the DLC?" And I'm like, to me, this is not a DLC. This is a full-on new game. I'm loving this more than the first one.
Okay.
What are you liking better about it?
The fact that there is a narrative.
Is the narrative good? You like the campaign?
It's interesting. I will give it that because one of the biggest story beats I can't really talk about because it's very spoiler heavy because something happens to you in the game that leads you down a path. And I didn't expect it. But it definitely explains a lot of the things that were going on in the first game.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
So there's definitely a huge tie-in to the first one.
And let me ask you, so because it is a survival kind of game, how to do you just have to survive long enough to get to the next cutscene, or you actually have destinations you're trying to reach, or?
So you're dropped into this area and you have no knowledge of this area, and you essentially have to go around and just explore the world, and then you find things, and you find the NPC. And the one thing happens to you that starts leading you to other areas of the map. And everything that you find requires you to find other things.
Okay, but
because
could you ostensibly do them in a different order than you got them in based on exploring?
Yes.
Okay, that's cool. I like that.
Yes. Because it's all underwater, in the beginning of the game, you can really only go down like 100 meters at most. And you have to go around and find like parts and discover things to build a submarine. As you build the submarine, you find other things to expand your base. Then the submarine allows you to go into like 300 meters. As you're exploring this whole new biome and like all these new things that are trying to kill you. You discover like ways to go even further and further. So at the beginning of the game, you can only go down like 100 meters. I'm down to 1,100 meters now. But as you, like for people that are afraid of water, this is a very rough game because the deeper you go, the light gets dimmer and dimmer. So things will literally come up to you out of nowhere. One of the big things from the first,
sounds quite scary to me.
One of the first, in the first game, there's something called the Ghost Leviathan. So at the edge of the map, like there's no walls to the edge of this. Like you're essentially on a wide plateau. When you get to the edge, it just falls off and it just keeps going down. But if you start swimming out into the ocean, like farther and farther out, this thing will hunt you down. And I know our producer, Nate, is ran into one of these and he was just like, nope, I'm done. I'm not playing this game anymore. Because if the timing is right and the mood is right, this game can be terrifying for some people. So I'm having fun with it.
The last Thassalophobic, is that what it's called?
Yeah, Thassalophobia.
Thassalophobic. Yeah.
So,
I mean, I get it.
Yeah, so I'm having fun with it. I recommend anybody who likes this style of game. It's definitely a lot more interesting than the first game with the story beats. I would recommend it.
Can I jump into this one first, or do I need to play the first one to really?
No, you can jump straight into this one.
Okay.
Because honestly, I think by playing this one first, it would make you want to go back to the first one and discover some of the other stuff.
Okay, interesting.
I mean, he just told you the first game didn't have a story, Scott. Listen up.
Well, I know, but he said that the second game, you see things tied back to the first. Am I going to miss out on that by not playing the first one first?
There's a very, very loose story from the first one. It's essentially like finding a text log, read the text log. It tells you something that happened, but it doesn't tie together nearly as well as this one does.
You find out that Umbrella was behind it all.
Not Umbrella, but similar things.
So that is Subnautica Below Zero. You're playing on Xbox. I am intrigued for sure. Got one more review to share with you guys. I promise you already that Kevin stopped by to talk about King of Seas. You're not going to want to miss this review. This game sounds pretty awesome. Here you go. Well, hey there, Kevin. How's it going, sir?
Great. Yourself?
I'm doing all right. I'm excited to hear you talk about this game you've been playing called King of Seas, which comes from developer 3D Clouds and was provided to us by Renaissance PR. You've been chatting with me a little bit on just text message about how you just can't get enough of this game. It sounds like you're really digging it.
I could talk about this game for hours. I don't know how much time you got.
Well, what is it? Because, I mean, it on the surface, it looks like a pirating type of game, but I gather there's a lot more going on than just looting and pillaging.
There is some. It's a action RPG. The RPG aspect is simply the talent trees and the growth as you learn to be a pirate.
Mm-hmm.
There are also different aspects of there's a market, and I've never seen anything like this in a game before. But you make money. One of the ways you can make money is by going to a city. That city produces a large amount of this, but very little of this.
Mm-hmm.
So you can, if you have what they make very little of on you, you can sell it at a higher price than say somewhere else.
Okay.
And so what they have a lot of, you can buy at a cheaper price and turn around and go sell that to another city that needs that product because they don't have as much, again, at a higher price.
Nice.
That's a really cool aspect that, like I said, I don't think I've ever seen before. And it added a whole different angle of intrigue to a game like this.
It's got that whole like supply and demand aspect that Moonlighter did, which is one of my favorite games of a couple years ago. So I love it when a game puts in that economy aspect of it that actually makes sense in the real world. So what about the actual gameplay itself? I mean, are you battling other people, or are you just? I mean, is there combat? What are you doing in here? There
is combat. It is very combat heavy. It's not a very fast action paced combat. You literally sail around on the seas as the story unfolds.
Kind of like a 3D isometric view, overhead view.
Yeah. Yep. You're sailing across the seas and visiting different cities, and you are pirating other ships.
Mm-hmm.
There are some cool aspects where some of the side missions are people will hire you to go take down ships that are of their fleet for different varying reasons. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. But yeah, you sail around, you run into ships, you're running from the Navy at first until you get strong enough to fight back. And so every time one of them sees you, you're in for a battle. Other ships that you pass by, you can sabotage them if you'd like, or you can leave them be.
So is there an end game here? Is this just keep pirating and amassing wealth, or what's your ultimate goal?
There is an end game. The story is you are one of two heirs to a throne, and your father was killed, and you were blamed. The story was, it's the old school cliche hero that's been backstabbed and has to redeem himself and all that fun jazz. But you basically, as a story unfolds, you have to find out who was responsible and clear your name and take your righteous place on the throne. Okay.
Now, what was the draw for you? Because I know when you texted me, you were saying that you wanted to get through the story, but you were so intrigued by the side quests and all the other stuff to do here. What? I know some people don't like side quests, some people do. Why did you like it so much?
Just because the gameplay is so much fun. It's so intriguing, and it's never the same thing. It is a procedurally generated, not world, but enemies and loot items. It is a loot-heavy game. And so every experience as you're sailing around is always different. It's just so much fun to go play the action part of this game.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
And in a weird way, it's a fun, like, I don't know how to say it's relaxing, but it's intense at the same time. I mean, you're just sailing around, you meet somebody, and there is no, it's not action as in you're mashing buttons every 15 milliseconds because you have to turn your ship every time you fire. It's naval combat, and so it's not fast, it's pretty slow, but it's so satisfying when you sink a ship, especially one that was trying to take you out.
Okay. Would it be fair to call this kind of like a deliberate Diablo on the water?
Yeah, that's a very good analogy.
Okay. I love it because I love me some Diablo. Back in the day, Diablo 3, I've got so many hours. But I also love naval combat in like Assassin's Creed. So, a little bit slower paced Diablo on the water. It sounds something great. And you're playing it on PC, but it looks like this game is also available on Xbox and PlayStation and Switch.
Yep.
So pretty much anybody can check this game out. It sounds like you highly recommend it.
Very much so, yes.
All right. Again, that is King of Seas. Play it on any platform that you've got. Really got no excuse. Kevin, thanks so much for checking it out. It sounds like a great game.
Thank you again for the opportunity.
Not a problem, man. You have a good one. We'll talk to you next time, all right?
Yep, take care.
Moving on, we got some new Facebook members. Want to say hello to Denzeth Rodriguez, Keith Keister, and Rob Cagno over at the Facebook community. If you'd like to join that group, please be sure to head over to facebook.com/groups/the GoCast. I try to keep that, as well as all of our other social media outlets, updated with any news that I find, any new trailers, all our podcast episodes, everything. Also, our Discord has a link in the show notes if you'd like to join a new Discord community. Lots of great people over there, and a good place for us to catch up and play some games together as well. That's what Zack and I used when we played Knockout City this week. It just worked out.
Big believer in Discord, man.
I love it as well. Also, do us a favor, drop us a review wherever you listen to the podcasts. Those positive reviews help us get the word out about what we're doing. We do appreciate it. Also, we've got our website, thegamingoutsider.com, where you can find all of our podcast episodes, all the information about the cast, and any written reviews or editorials that we do. Speaking of, Kevin's review of King of Seas is up there. Zach's review of Nier Replicant, which is quite a lengthy review about why he loves this game so much, and I mean that in a good way, man. I'm not knocking you.
I read it earlier. It's a good article.
It's a great review. I really liked it. It really shows why he appreciates that game as much as he does.
Thanks, guys.
And also,
it's definitely not my most objective piece of work.
And he fully admits that in the opening paragraph. So it's all good. And lastly, Spencer's review of Retro Machina should be up as well. He is loving that game. He's found all sorts of Easter eggs in that game, including Bender from Futurama is just randomly in the game. There's a TARDIS, and I think he found Wilson out in the middle of the ocean somewhere, which was a pretty funny little Easter eggs. Anyway, let's go ahead and now jump into our From the Outside In topic. So this week we asked our community to tell us how they are a gamer without actually telling us they're a gamer. I've seen this kind of thing all over on Twitter recently. Tell us you're this without telling us you're this. So I wanted to turn it into a video game discussion. We want to hear things that prove to the world that you love to game without actually saying, I play Assassin's Creed or I play Fortnite or whatever game floats your boat. We also asked for fun things that we all did when we were kids that were video game related, but not necessarily actually playing the game. So before we share our community's insight, I'd like you both to share your proof of being a gamer. I know, let's try to do some stuff that we haven't talked about before. Yes, CB, we know you have 9,000 games in your basement. But what are some things you do that prove you're a gamer? Examples from childhood to adulthood that make people know without a shadow of a doubt that you love to play video games. Zach, let's start with you.
Oh man, I think the first thing that came to mind was my camcorder show Z-Play.
Oh,
where I would talk into the camera and review video games X-Play style, of course. And
did you say out of 5?
I did, and do the Adam Sessler pause because I was a little dork, and yeah, that was fun. And I just remember because you're a kid, I would try to make some controversial statements every now and again. Where I'd be
give me an example. What's a controversial statement?
The example I remember is I looked in the camera real seriously, and I was like, after playing Fable, I think I'm more excited for Fable 2 than I am Halo 2.
Ooh.
It's oof, settle down, badass Zack. Calm down over there. It's really
Please
funny.
tell me those exist somewhere still.
I'm pretty sure my mother does still have them.
Oh,
She keeps that kind of stuff.
we have to get a hold of that, Zach.
I think she has a shoebox of, because when I was a kid, I would also use my grandpa's typewriter to type reviews.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll ever take those out. Yeah, maybe that'll be the 10-year go anniversary. Maybe we'll earn it then.
The 10-year anniversary?
Yeah, you guys really got to make it.
No, dude, we're not gonna make 10
Yeah,
years.
we will.
Oh wait, the 10-year total. What are we at?
5?
We're in year 6.
Six?
We're in year 6, aren't we?
Yeah.
No, we're
See?
totally going to make
That's
it 10
nothing.
years.
No, I know we're gonna make it 10 years.
What else are we gonna do with our lives?
Keep playing.
I just want to see those really badly. And Zach, you and I were kind of talking about this over text message because you had a little bit easier go of it than I did. Being younger. We didn't have camcorders were a little bit more of a luxury item when I was in middle school and high school. It wasn't everybody didn't have a camcorder. But I made news broadcasts and stuff with my camcorder. Have you ever had to edit with VCR?
Yeah.
Try
to do any kind of editing?
Yes, yeah, I would. Well, because I would. Oh, this is just so dorky. I would record gameplay footage on my VCR and then try to edit it down to make it as cinematic as possible.
Nice.
So I did do some editing. I think I made Max Payne 2 into a movie. I'm pretty sure was my magnum opus.
Oh,
as I
wow.
recall. Yeah.
And now, think about how much easier that would be to do now. Although I wouldn't know where to begin, but the tools just have to be so much easier, and the quality would be better than.
Yeah, it was easier access, but yeah, I feel like it's a whole new thing I would have to learn.
Right. But back then we had the time to learn.
Right, that is true. That's a good point. Yes, now I don't feel as bad.
Yeah, I had so much time, dude. No, but I was telling you this. CB, you'll probably remember these camcorders. My camcorder had the ability to put words on the screen while you were filming.
And it was always in that stupid white block text.
Yep, it was white block text, but you also, in order to input it, there was no keyboard. So you had to scroll up, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S. All right, over, A, B, C. All right, over, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I'm talking to go through every letter of the alphabet. And then to do that just for a still frame, because I would put credits at the end of my videos, set to music, because we would do news broadcasts or whatever. And I would just have a shot with that word on there for a second, and then I would turn it off, and then I'd go back in and punch in a new name, erase everything, and put in that. Oh,
Yeah.
it's just
The struggle was real.
Yep. Yeah.
When we would make movies as kids, such hits as Midnight Snipe or The Dukers, we would make a text document and then camcorder the computer screen and click through the credits.
Oh, see that's pretty smart.
Thank you.
That's pretty smart. Or you could have even made like a scrolling thing if you just made like a Word document.
Yeah, that's probably
and slowly scrolled it up.
That's probably true, but yeah,
I printed them out, taped them together, and then like pulled it along a table with the tripod.
That's creative. That's creative too, man.
Isn't that what they actually did with Star Wars? The crawl, wasn't it an actual piece of paper that they were pulling?
Yeah.
That sounds right.
I seem to remember seeing a picture of that.
Yeah, it was like at an angle with it backlit.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, man, imagine like how hard it would have been to make that movie back then.
It's insane. The documentaries are fun to watch.
They are fun to watch. Zach, anything else, man?
Well, I would review games on GameSpot's blog all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I remember there was like a forum, either like you could do like forum guilds, I want to say, on GameSpot's forums. I think that's what they were called. But anyway, there was like a elite reviewers one. I remember I got invited to it to join to be an elite reviewer, even though I was like 11, and I felt pretty good about myself.
That's awesome.
I felt like I was destined to maybe do something one day. But I keep thinking about the childhood stuff because we also would, it wasn't enough to play tag. We would have to play, like a variant of Ghost in the Graveyard, except it was Splinter Cell rules.
Nice.
Whereas like Sam Fisher was hunting the mercs down, and I remember the like arbitrary rules were like, if you heard a whistle, you had to go investigate it because that's what the guards did in Splinter Cell.
That's great.
Like it was one of the rules. So I guess there's a lot of kid stuff, and I mean, as you get older, of course, you just get like the collectibles and the t-shirts, etc., or the big forearm tattoos like I have now, or there's definitely some nerd stuff there. But the stuff you do as a kid, I just think is the most interesting because you're working with such limited resources.
That's true. Can I piggyback off of yours really quick before I go to CB?
Okay.
You were talking about like the childhood games of like tag and stuff like that. You remember, and this ties into video games because there was a video game based on the television show American Gladiators on the NES, and CB made me play it somewhat recently. Didn't we do a Patreon episode on games based on TV shows? And American Gladiators was one of them. My favorite game on American Gladiators, whether the TV show or the game, was The Assault. If you remember, The Assault was where one of the gladiators was up top with a giant
cannon
tennis ball launcher. And then the contestant had to like work their way closer and closer to the person with the tennis ball and try to hit a little red target with various weapons along the way. Like one was a rocket launcher, one was a bow and arrow. And as you got closer and closer, the weapons got easier to use, but you were also in better proximity of the gladiator to hit you with this tennis ball cannon. I thought this was the coolest game ever when I was a kid, and it didn't translate very well on the NES. But as I found out, but for Christmas or my birthday one year, I got a Nerf gun that had an actual. It would shoot Nerf balls with a battery powered. And it had like a hopper that went over your shoulder that you would stuff with all these balls. So it was like a machine gun Nerf ball. And we thought that was the coolest toy ever. So we made our own American Gladiators setup, where we actually set up the living room, where we had the different stations. When we had a bow and arrow, Nerf bow and arrow. We had a target set up behind the person that was the tennis ball launcher. We had a rubber ball that you had to throw, and it was all about like trying to make your way through and hit that target without getting hit by the gladiator, which was, I don't know, it was super fun when I was a kid. Having pillow forts and stuff set up on the road there. That turned into, we wound up just turning it into ball tag, which sounds like it's exactly what it sounds like, ball tag. But we used to play ball tag at night, and the rule was whoever was it had to use a flashlight. They had to carry a flashlight. They didn't have to turn it on, but you could only throw the ball if you had the flashlight on. Was the rule. So it was all about trying to be hidden, and I don't know. Somehow that game turned into ball tag, and it was awesome. But anyway, American Gladiators. I got more, but CB or Zach, do you have more?
I think right. I mean, maybe it'll jog my memory or something. But
All right. CB?
As far as me, well, I mean, again, most people know I'm a gamer.
Right.
But outside, like, just when I'm at work, the people that see me out in public, I actually have a lot of hidden video game items on me at all times. So I have a job pullover, like a job shirt that we wear. And on the one lapel, I have my Assassin's Creed pin.
I noticed that the other day,
And then
actually.
on the other side, I have a Vault Boy. Then on my keychain, I have my Fallout water pistol ray gun. I have those. I movie reference, but I have my multi-pass holder, which I keep a credit card in. It's like the multi-pass.
well, what's multipass from?
Fifth Element.
From Fifth Element.
Oh, wow! That's kind of an obscure movie to reference.
I love that movie.
Is it?
So
yeah, I don't think that was not a hit, Scott.
Oh, multipass. That's like a common meme all over Twitter.
Oh,
Multipass.
okay.
yeah, people are actually buying like multi-pass holders to put their COVID vaccine stuff in, so they'll look multi-pass.
Okay, that's kind of clever.
It is. But like growing up, one of my big things was a lot of the games we played in the backyard. We based off of, and I'm really dating myself with this, the show Nick Arcade.
Oh yeah, I remember Nick Arcade.
Where
I don't know. What
so it was. Do you remember Legends of the Hidden Temple?
I have heard of it. Yes.
Okay, so that style of thing, but everything was shot on a green screen towards the end, and you had to run a gauntlet, and the green screen, like when it was actually shown on the TV, was you were essentially running through like a video game.
Like a side-scrolling video game where you had to jump up and reach power-ups and stuff.
That's
so we
pretty
used
cool.
to take like couch cushions and like lay them out, and then do like the different things. Be like, oh yeah, like hit the power up and run through the course. We made those up and down the hallway, up and down the stairs. It really pissed my parents off because sometimes things would
Yeah,
get broken.
This is going to sound like a weird question, but Zach, have you ever watched the television show Home Improvement?
Yeah. Tim
Okay.
Toolman Taylor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember like the opening, theme song or whatever? Because I know you never skip those. You never skip the opening theme songs ever
course
on
not.
TV shows.
That would be insane. That would be an insane thing to do.
And there's the one part of that where the boys are like in a video game, like jumping over
Yeah.
something. It's like that. It looks
Okay.
like that, like but it was an actual television show where they would run through that and they would jump and then things would go under them, or they would have to reach up for a power up or climb through stuff. It was really cool when we were kids.
I also have an ear for hearing like little jingles or melodies. Like you'll hear somebody just like whistle the victory theme from Final Fantasy VII, and you're like, stuff like that. Or I'll randomly quote video games to people. Like nothing is real, everything is permitted.
I used to do that when I was a kid at restaurant. I would hear something that sounded like a Game Boy, and I would perk up, and my stepdad would get mad at me. He's like,
"Stop that!"
He just heard a sound that sounded something remotely like a video game, and he got super interested. And it used to just annoy him. So
yeah,
I stopped.
Here's a true story. I worked with a barista at a restaurant in Chicago, and when he was steaming milk, he would hum Epona's song from Zelda, and we did not like each other before then, and now he's one of my closest friends in the whole world.
Nice.
So there's a power of video games right there.
Yeah.
I like it.
I'm in the process of pulling a Zack. I want to get a tattoo. I actually have a whole sleeve drawn up for it, but
Oh, what is it?
It's a combination of like a lot of different 80s arcade games, like Centipede, Galaga, like all that. But I want to do my whole arm that way.
Here I expected
Nice.
just a giant 101.
No, no,
That'd be
not
pretty
a-
cool.
not
I'm too
a-
scared
not
to
a
get
sixer.
tattoo.
No, but that tattoo sounds. I would like to see the drawing.
Yeah.
that you have.
Essentially,
Okay.
the middle of it is actually the side cabinet art for Centipede. And then
Oh,
I want to
interesting.
do things around that, but then at the bottom have the ship from Galaga firing up at
There
it.
it is. We're at a countdown clock until Galaga was mentioned.
Yeah.
That's for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
I was waiting for it.
Come on, man! Like that was the basis of my childhood. I mean,
Yeah, no, I
I'm
get it.
not gonna lie. There may not be almost 80 different Galaga ships around my house.
Jeez.
Yeah, I'll do whenever I find one, I buy it. I can't help it. So,
I know the feeling. All right, I see something Zelda related. I buy it. Like today.
oh,
I didn't tell you what I bought today,
no.
did I?
What'd you buy?
I bought the European copy of the new Zelda game, Skyward Sword, coming to Switch.
Oh, so you can get the amiibo.
No, so I can get the Steelbook that is only available in Europe. And it comes
What is with that, by the way? Like,
I don't know. That was the same with Link's Awakening, and it was like $25 extra, but it was free shipping. So
you lucked out there.
yeah, I mean, but
Nintendo of Europe is just way cooler.
Yeah.
apparently, but it comes with with a Triforce, or not a Triforce, but the crest keychain and a poster and the game. So I was like, and the first time it went up, it was gone within 30 seconds. And I didn't bite, and I was really mad at myself. So as soon as I saw it pop up today, I was like, I will take one of those, please. So,
Importing stuff's a pretty good sign that you're a massive fan of something, especially if you like. Well, I guess it's European, but especially when you can't read whatever it is you're buying.
oh
That's
yeah.
definitely some nerd stuff right there.
Oh man, I got the Hyrule the Hyrule book. I can't remember what it's called now. Hyrule Historia.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got a Japanese copy of it, sealed, never been opened.
Yeah, I got a more than a couple Japanese Drakengard things that I have no real understanding of what's going on inside, but I'm so thrilled that I have them.
Yeah, same here. And anything that just drives my wife crazy that I have. You're not gonna open it? No,
Never.
you can't read the language. I know, it's awesome.
But it's so cool, you don't understand.
It's so cool.
Honey, I
it's
got honey, I got Near Gestalt and Near Replicant. I can't play either of them. Isn't that great?
Oh, and the Japanese one is like leather bound. Like
Oh, that's
it's
way cooler.
brown leather. It's just really awesome.
That's
So-
rad, dude.
And then I bought 2 copies of the other one, the English one to keep sealed and displayed, and one to read. So
So you've purchased 3 Hyrule Historias.
yes, I did.
I have one. Does that
Have
make
you-
me?
It's
I've
a
read it.
tough read.
But it feels important.
Yeah, it does. It does. Anyway, CB, you got more? Or are you
Oh
out?
no, I'm out. I mean, other than just all the toys around the house.
Oh yeah. I mean, we could talk. We always talk about all the toys around the house. My posters. Our podcast. How about
Yeah.
that? We have a video game
Right.
podcast,
I'm-
guys.
Yeah, that's
The
Again,
website?
we just talked about this the other day. Like the fact that I need a vinyl sticker for my car.
Yeah, exactly. I think the number one thing that tells people that I'm a gamer is my classroom. My classroom is covered with video game stuff. I am this close to buying an NBA Jam arcade cabinet to put in my classroom for next year, just because I want to be that teacher. How cool would that be?
I know. I
I really
send
want
you the pictures all the time whenever I see one.
I know. And then you send me the pictures of the one you bought because you just like to rub it in that you got it. But I want to get that, and I want to get one that's like the classic games too, like Pac-Man and Galaga. I wish I could find one that has like the exact games I want, because like I don't
That's
know.
why you buy one and
A
retropie it.
I guess I could. But I like the short little stature of the one-up ones. Can you retro buy
Yeah,
those?
you just put a Raspberry Pi in it and load it with everything that you want.
Oh, okay, maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll just get one of those and just do that. But yeah, how cool would it be to have in my classroom 2 actual like arcade cabinets? I know some of the kids won't care, but I would be the cool teacher for a
You'd
minute.
have to turn those things off.
Oh yeah, they would be on like all day. Could you imagine the kids, especially if they make
They do.
noise? You have one. Does
They
it make
do.
noise? Yeah, it would have to be off. Outside of that, I told you about what the American Gladiators thing when I was a kid. I tried to do stuff like I had it in my head that I wanted to make it. I think I told you this, Zach. I wanted to make a novelization of the Secret of Monkey Island game.
Oh, right, because then I told you I did like a sequel, or I wrote like a novel sequel to Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask.
Right, I do remember
Yes, yeah.
that. I
Where
wish
Ganondorf got the Majora's Mask. Woof. Danger.
I wish that it still exists somewhere because I would love to go back and read my dude, I worked hard on it. Like I was a grammar, I hardcore about grammar and structure, and I took the actual dialogue. I played the game and wrote it while I was playing the game, and actually copied the dialogue word for word.
That's pretty cool, man.
And it was on a computer, so it wasn't like it's a paper copy floating around. It's probably on a disc somewhere in somebody's trash bin somewhere. But
They
could
don't
you
do
imagine?
they don't do a lot of video game novelizations. They should get into those.
Yeah, I remember, like when I was a kid, there were novelizations of movies. I still have a copy of Back to the Future 2 that I read over and over again when I was a kid.
Oh, really? I know they did a novelization of God of War that's supposed to be pretty excellent.
Really? Is it like it's like based on the actual game, not like a
Right,
spin-off story or something like that?
Not set in the universe, which is what video game books usually are. Like, I remember I got the Assassin's Creed 3 book thinking it was going to be a novelization, but it's actually, it's what Hatham was doing while you're playing as Connor, basically. But this God of War book is apparently just a straight up novelization, which I don't know if we have a great deal of for video games.
We don't. Is it a licensing thing, you think?
I don't know. I wonder if it's just that maybe people don't think there's an audience there.
Maybe. I don't know. I just don't know how there wouldn't be an audience.
I mean, honestly, like now that I'm thinking about it, I think God of War might actually work better as a book, because my problems with God of War were all of the video game parts.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, most of the books that I think of are all the lore building ones, like all the Halo books.
Right, yeah, like a prequel or a side story, or like what was Nathan Fillion up to in Halo 3? Etc. Bucky, I think his name. Yeah. More of those.
I think also when I was a kid, I loved to draw logos of video game stuff. Like I was never good at drawing characters or anything like that, but like graphic design stuff, like but by hand. Specifically, my favorite thing to draw was the Super Metroid logo. You know, that S with the really pointy edges on it and then the circle around it? I used to love to draw that and color it just like over and over again. I just thought that was pretty cool. I used to do this, this isn't video game related, but I used to do the same thing for the Independence Day logo, the ID4 with like the space in the middle of it. I got in trouble for that actually, because we weren't allowed to watch movies in my school, and my teacher recognized what it was, and I got in trouble.
I did remember a couple more childhood gamer things, but I don't know if I've told them on the show before.
Okay.
I think I might have. But I used to make greeting like cards on the computer for people's birthdays and Christmas and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But I would always sign it as on the back of the card where the Hallmark logo would be was Master Sword Productions.
Nice.
And drew a little Master Sword logo. And then I remember because I met my father later in life, so therefore I met his parents, my grandparents later. I remember when they met me, they like asked me to do this like concrete slab, like a stepping stone you put in a garden, but customize it with all these jewels and stuff. Because they were, thought it'd be kind of like a fun way for them to get to like see what I'm into and stuff like that. And it was all Zelda themed. Like I would use these little like stones to make images of the boomerang and the swords and bow and arrow and stuff. And then I signed it as a Link. And I remember my grandpa going like, "Oh, is that like your nickname in school?" I'm like, "No, that's the Hero of Time." Like,
no, it's the Hero of Time, obviously.
What's wrong with you, old man? Yeah. I'm sure they still. I would actually love to see that thing in real life again, because I was a Zelda nerd when I was a kid.
Yeah. Did you make maps of the dungeons on graph paper?
No, I didn't. I don't think I had to. Because I was introduced via Ocarina of Time.
No. I wasn't. I'm talking about the original Zelda, like the.
Yeah, well, I went back and played it, of course, but I'm saying like
right. And I wasn't making it for me. I was trying to sell my buddy on playing it and how awesome this game was, but it was a tough game. So I wanted him to have somewhat of a guide to be able to know what to do. So I actually drew the dungeons on graph paper with like specifics, like here's where the key is and this is where you can use the key. And, you know, I was very proud of it. And again, wish I still had that to this day, because man, that would be a prized possession.
I was just, that triggered so Warrior Within, which I guess would have come out, I was probably like 13 or something, so it might be a little bit old to do something like this. But I remember being upset that the real ending is hidden behind having to get all the health upgrades. So I made like a sheet, you know, like a little like a computer piece of paper, and I like tore it into several parts, and I wrote on all of them, look up how to get all 9 health upgrades if you want to see the real ending. And when I was in GameStop and stuff, I would stick it in the case for the games that were going to get sold.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's a little pay it forward to people.
Did anybody ever like say anything and be like, "Hey, thanks for that, man"?
I mean, how would they know? You know,
That's true.
But yeah, this is a really dumb thing I did that I just remembered.
That's kind of cool, man.
But I was inspired because there was a Splinter Cell game that I bought secondhand, and there was a really tough puzzle in it. But someone had put the solution to the puzzle in the notes section of the instruction manual.
And that bothered you?
No, I thought it was great. I was like, that's so helpful. Like, what a nice thing to do. So I was kind of inspired by that.
Ah, okay.
To try to make a Warrior Within players' lives a little easier.
Nice. I like it. Well, that was quite a lot of good memories and things. I mean, we could go on about all the ways.
We got to move on before you guys keep triggering nonsense.
I know, right? Well, I mean, the clothes we wear. Most of my T-shirts are video game T-shirts. Most of my sweatshirts are video game sweatshirts. Everything on my walls in my basement. My collection, like CB was talking about, his, like everything I do is video game. I got the Zelda crest on the back of my car. In vinyl.
But not on your skin.
Not on my skin.
It's that religious upbringing.
It might be. That my wife would really hate it. Really hate it.
She doesn't like tattoos?
No, she really does not like tattoos at all.
See, that's the only reason why I'm still debating on getting one, because Rose has more than I do.
I didn't know that.
I think we get Scott drunk and then we go all get matching Zelda tattoos on our ankles or something.
I would not get a Zelda tattoo.
I was trying to make it discreet from your wife. Maybe at the bottom of your foot. How often does your wife see your feet?
That's true. Or you could just get like the glow-in-the-dark tattoo ink on the back of my hand and get the Triforce in the back of my hand. So
that'd be cool, because then you would be Link.
Yeah, would that be kind of cool?
Oh,
was it his left hand?
And then I can get Ganon's, and Christina could get Zelda's. Look at that.
There you go.
That'd be cool.
That'd be. Can you imagine? It has to hurt so much to get this tattooed.
Yeah. Well, part of my Nier tattoo is on my wrist, and it hurt so much. So much.
This is a lot closer to the bone, though. There's not a whole lot there.
I mean, dude, it's right. That's right on your vein.
That's true.
It's a pretty sensitive situation.
Wrist, from what I hear, is not fun.
No, and if you've seen Grimoire Vice, you know how detailed that guy's face is.
Right.
It was quite a predicament. I remember the tattooed artist gave me crap for it. He's like, I bet you regret having some detail now. That was pretty funny.
How long did it take for that part of your wrist?
I think, the wrist was the longest part, so I think that the whole tattoo was 2.5 hours, and an hour of it was just Vice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. We should go on and see what our community said, because...
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, CB, I think I cut CB off when he was trying to say something. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just saying I wouldn't be getting a Zelda tattoo. But, no, Rose has like 5.
Are they?
I didn't know that.
Is she nerdy?
No, she hates video games.
Well, I understand that. I just didn't know she was like into anime or something.
Yeah, there's other kinds of nerdy besides video games.
She is the farthest thing from a nerd you will ever meet.
She have a tattoo of a infinity
dolphin.
symbol.
She does have a dolphin.
Oh, I called it.
Does she really?
It is a tramp stamp dolphin.
Oh,
nice.
Wow, that's interesting.
But I mean, she has a rose, like
I guess it's a little on the nose.
The typical infinity loop.
Yes, I knew it.
And then she's got doves on her shoulder. Like the rose was actually done twice, because the first time she hated it so much that she got a cover-up rose over it.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
So
that's not good.
yeah, I mean, she keeps asking me. She's like, "When are you going to get something done?" And I'm like, I don't know. When I find somebody that I trust to actually do something permanent.
It's like, when are you going to get more attractive, husband?
She tells me that all the time, man.
You should you talk to Josh Del Rio from our community. You know
Yeah, I know
Josh.
Josh.
His brother works there. Have you seen his tattoos? I mean, he maintains them like crazy, but he's got some good stuff, so he could probably recommend a good guy for you.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go to Facebook. Who wants to start?
I will start. Brian
right.
Rigotti. My lanyard and face mask in public are game related, but at home I have posters and collectibles all over the place. Anyone who's seen my bank or credit card statements would know too. I feel your pain.
Yeah, so we can all agree on that one.
My bank knows that I'm a gamer.
No, I also I've been wearing my my Sub-Zero mask.
Nice.
So.
Oh, that is cool. I there's a regular at the coffee shop I work at where he's got a tarcotton teeth.
Oh, nice.
On his face mask. It's very, because I remember I was like, oh, Barack. He's like, Melina, actually. And I was like, oh, it's weird. I didn't know you could tell the difference, to be honest.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a difference.
Yeah, good stuff.
So,
combat.
Zach, you want to go?
Sure, yeah. Sean Coates said, let's see. A gamer without the games themselves. I know this was discussed on another topic about gaming apparel, and pretty much every t-shirt I own has something gaming related on it. I also can't forget to mention the Mortal Kombat themed face mask I bought from you guys. Besides that, I've also been slowly but surely teaching myself to play piano again. It's something I used to do as a kid, but enjoying learning some certain game tunes. I've nailed some Mario tunes, the Mortal Kombat theme tune, and I'm currently trying to nail the E1M1 tune from Doom. All of which are on a basic level, nothing too fancy. Dude, I bet that Doom sounds pretty sweet on piano.
yeah.
I bet it does too. I would love to hear like the advanced arrangement of that. I bet you it's pretty cool. I didn't do any video game themes when I was a kid. When I played piano.
I didn't. You played piano?
Yeah, I took lessons for 5 years. I used to be able to play like Scott Joplin and.
Did your mom force you to do this?
Yeah.
I also was forced to play piano and
recitals.
Trumpet.
I also played baritone and clarinet.
I think my parents kind of understood I didn't care about music.
Yeah. I mean, I liked music, so
yeah.
I just didn't, I didn't want to play piano. I'm thankful for it. That's where I learned most of my music theory, honestly. So, next up, Allison Marie, who fellow teacher. She used to teach art at my school. She said, I paint characters on things in my house, and I dress my kid like this. And she posted some pictures, which I know make for great radio. But she's quite an artist. She did. She's got a little picture of Yoshi. I think it's pretty cool.
I think it's a little table with Yoshi looking at a starry Mario star.
Yeah,
that looks really cool. Yeah,
that looks really. I may have to commission her.
Right.
And she's got her kid dressed up with what looks like a Pokemon T-shirt. I can't tell what the hat is.
It's a Magikarp.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, now I can see it. Yeah,
I can see it for sure.
I actually had the same hat for AJ for a while.
Nice. All right, CB, you're up.
Christina from the team. I have plenty of Zelda apparel. Believe me, anybody who's been around her long enough, you've seen it at some point in time.
It's pretty much all she wears. I think all she wears is something that's got Zelda on it.
Yeah. My varsity style sweatshirt that I wear as a jacket basically everywhere I go has Princess Peach on it. Ariel D'Angelo, I still love it. Thank you. I listen to game soundtracks. Ariel and I have matching Triforce tattoos. I have Zelda coffee cups and water bottles. My coasters on my desk are styled like PlayStation controller buttons. My notepad on my desk is in the shape of a PlayStation 4 controller. Chase Jensen gave me a Breath of the Wild. I'm guessing that's display as a housewarming gift. I have a shelf on my desk that holds my controllers, handhelds, and 2B. Nice little near reference there for you. I have the Zelda chest with glass rupees from Scott Clark and the Go Crew when I was their producer, and I have related games on my bookshelf. All my kids are gamers. I'm probably missing a few things to call out, but yeah.
That Zelda chest she got was was really
Yeah.
cool, by the way.
Scott was
I
jealous.
was really mad. I was so jealous. It had like the actual like green, blue, and red rupees inside of it, inside of a chest that were like they were solid. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it was pretty dope.
Yeah.
It was definitely one of those like, yeah, let's get it for her, but I kind of wish we just got them all for us.
Right?
Yeah. Kevin Honingford wrote in, one of my most prized possessions is my F4F Sonic exclusive statue. Is in a display case in the main living room area of the house, so everyone that walks in sees it. Even people that aren't all that into the hobby compliment it. I am currently working on a full backdrop for it. Kevin Honingford, send me a picture of that statue.
It is.
I wanted that statue.
Gorgeous.
Didn't he post it on Discord today?
No,
Possible.
that's another one he's getting.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. That's the one he ordered.
Yeah.
That he showed us. Yeah.
Is it also Sonic?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's a very big Sonic fan.
Big
That's
Sonic.
great. I love Sonic.
I actually. Go ahead.
Kevin surely must have heard me. I've said in this very podcast, they have never made a bad Sonic game.
He was very upset with me after our episode where we talked about which console would we get rid of, and I said the Genesis.
He actually threatened to kill his D&D character.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, he was not happy with me on
That's
that.
a threat. That's a threat that carries weight. And I will reiterate, I know that there are bad Sonic games. They have never made a Sonic game that I did not find joy in.
That's all that matters, man. That's all that matters. He's such a Sonic fan that whenever I get anything, either press release or Twitter notification of something going on sale at Sonic related, I send it to him. They have something out right now called the Sonic Encyclopedia. That's not me making that up. That's actually what they're calling it.
That's a great name.
The Encyclopedia. I thought it was pretty great. It was on sale, so I sent it to him, and he's like, This is like right before his birthday, so he was trying to drop hints to his wife to get it for him. Yeah, the dude loves Sonic. So, last comment comes from Silly Willy. He says, I have 2 gaming tattoos, the shade from Hollow Knight and the Bowser logo. I have a lot of tattoos, so most people don't notice them right off the bat, but those who do always get excited because they know we have something in common, which is always a good feeling. I especially enjoy those who recognize the shade because Hollow Knight is my favorite game, so it's nice when others appreciate it too. That's a good tattoo too. It's
the shade. That's an excellent choice for a tattoo.
Right. It's not like me getting Zelda or Mario or something. It's something that's a little bit obscure, but it's still really cool.
Let's say it's a deep gamer nerd one, right? It's not.
Yeah.
It's not like getting Mario's cap or something.
And I think that's part of why I haven't gotten a Zelda tattoo. Honestly, is because everybody's got, it's like there's nothing really special about it.
You don't want to be the basic gamer.
I'm just like afraid of getting something permanent. That's just so permanent to me.
But Zelda is a permanent staple in your life.
Yeah, Zelda is. I obviously know how special it is to you specifically. I can't argue that like Zelda is definitely like one of. I feel like that's. You see more Zelda merch than I think of any other franchise in game.
I don't know. I see a lot of Mario stuff.
Ah, man. I don't know. It always feels like you see people wear Zelda stuff that are they really fans?
I have pointed out people's Zelda shirts before, and they did not know it was a video game.
Yeah, especially like when you see like the Shield ones at like Walmart, and people just buy them because they look cool.
They do look cool. They look cool.
Yeah,
as hell.
but you're like, oh man, that's
a
a sweet Zelda shirt, and they're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to. You should still get the tattoo, Scott. It's important to you.
All right, I'll see what I can do.
Let me tell I'm going to call Seth up. I'm going to get this going on.
All right, I will record that.
Well, that'd be a fun first phone call for us.
That would be great. All right, that's going to do it for this week's episode. Next week will be the community questions, so stay tuned to social media. We want to hear questions from you for us to discuss on next week's episode. Zach, before we get out of here, any parting words?
Yeah, just always remember to play your games New Game Plus up until the first boss. That's all I'm throwing out there.
I'm doing it. You realize I am doing that. I just
no. I mean, I honestly I haven't been doing much other than watching a outrageous amount of Schitt's Creek in my free time. It's a very good show. and I don't want to just keep talking about it, but man, those are some heartwarming characters, I gotta tell you.
I will get there eventually.
After season 1.
I'm still working on season 1.
Yeah, I didn't dislike season 1 like it seems like you are. But,
I don't dislike it. It's just that I'm not driven to keep going. The only thing driving me is how good everyone says that it gets in season 2 and beyond. So
yeah, I think it does change tone, as I've said.
CB, how about you?
I mean, other than press reset, the only other thing that I really did new this week was watched Army of the Dead.
It's
so
can't wait to watch that movie.
Much fun. I love it. I've watched it twice already.
I mean, Zack Snyder's one of my favorite filmmakers, and the idea of him for the first time not working on something that's already established is pretty exciting.
It's a ride. I will say that much.
When I saw it was 2.5 hours, I was like, "Yep, that's Zack Snyder for you." Because there's no other director in the world would think that a zombie heist movie needs to be 2.5 hours long.
I will tell you right now, 35 minutes could have easily been cut from this film.
So it's a Zack Snyder movie,
yep.
All right.
Easily, I'm like, God, I could trim 35 to 40 minutes out of this.
Just from the slow-mo, right?
Darn it.
There's not much slow-mo in this.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay.
But
I love the Snyder excess. I just can't.
Man, from the moment I saw that trailer with Kenny Rogers, the gambler, I was sold.
That's a great
I was
point.
like, this is the most perfect song for this trailer.
It's like, this is one of the reasons you need to be here. Because how much fun would it be to sit down and just watch that movie together?
Yeah. And then I could talk to your wife about your tattoo.
Yeah. No, she would be around because she would not watch that movie. But
that's a shame.
Okay.
It's fun.
I was been waiting for the 2.5 hours in a row. I was going to watch it today, but then we got Biomutant Code, so that kind of threw a wrench in my plan.
I hear you.
Which is a terrible problem to have, I know, getting free
it's
games.
A great problem to have. I was so excited. For you. Well, everybody out there, thank you so much for listening. I want to remind you once again that The Gaming Outsider is produced by Nate Lucas, and all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. His website is stemagemusic.com. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson and Chris Behrensmeyer, and we are The Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.